Kylie.
And I'm Corey.
And we are
Lit Libations.
Welcome.
Oh my gosh. I feel like it's been weeks since we've been sitting on this couch.
I know. I went and I took a trip to Colorado to visit family. And so I literally have not seen this lovely lady, my bestie, in like almost 2 weeks.
That's crazy.
That makes me sad. But then we're going to see each other 2 days in a row. So that's good.
Yeah, wait,
Today
wait.
and tomorrow.
Well, today is Sunday and tomorrow's Monday.
Yeah.
And we play volleyball tomorrow.
Yeah. And then I might just come over Tuesday. Who knows? No, I'm just kidding.
Why not? Let's keep it going. We are finishing up Anarchist Underground today by Nicole Rowles, part 2.
So exciting.
A lot to get into. A lot happens. There was a twist that genuinely shocked me.
Oh, 100. When I was reading it in Colorado and I was on the couch and my stepmom and my dad were like sitting on the couch and I was like, what? What? And they were looking at me like, what the fuck is your problem? And I was like, it's the book. It's the book.
It's the book.
And then I just didn't want to explain it because it would take too long. And
like, so
I wanted to keep reading.
So there's this commander of the Dunwin Army.
Yeah.
No, just keep
Oh my God.
We are explaining it right now. And it took 2 hours and 40 minutes, the first episode, right?
Yeah. If I can, yeah.
We tried to explain it. It took 2 hours.
If I can, yeah, if I can
minutes.
plan it out, then that's, whatever. I'm like one of those people like where I'm watching a show, if someone new joins like in season 2 or like same thing with the books and they're asking like, what happened? What up until this point? I'm like, go sit in your room, leave, watch from the beginning. And then when you catch up, you can ask whatever questions you still need, but you probably won't have any, and shut up and leave me alone.
And that's how you deal with that.
I'm not the person to ask if I don't know what's going on.
That's hilarious.
Or if you don't know what's going on. If I don't know what's going on, I can ask anything I want.
That definitely wouldn't work. Okay, we're not drinking anything today because it is a Sunday afternoon. It's
God's Day.
Yeah, we respect.
I mean, technically we'd be on wine, I'm sure, but
Oh yeah, true. I just didn't feel like it.
I didn't feel like it either.
It's a Sunday afternoon. I got things to do. No, I'm
I
just
got
kidding.
things to do.
Drink every time someone has a sword to their throat. That happens a lot.
You're right. I actually did not think about that.
Yeah, so think about it. I'm drinking a Topo Chico today. I just have to throw that out there because it's my favorite thing. Lime, twist of lime.
And I'm drinking water from the tap.
Yep, tap water. It's a good choice.
I love water.
Me too.
I'm like obsessed. Some people hate the taste of water.
What?
They like need like the flavored water stuff to like make it at all drinkable for them. My dad is one. My mom is another one.
Are you kidding?
Yeah, and I could just chug water, just straight water.
Oh yeah, I think that's okay. What kind of water drinker are you? Let us know.
Yeah,
I need to know because I don't know anybody that has to have something added to it.
Yeah, I know more than a couple.
Is it a Colorado thing?
I can't imagine because the water in Colorado is objectively better.
Right. It's
like I'm
right
not trying to be a dick, but
right?
like yeah, it's directly it's objectively better.
That's so interesting. I don't know.
I know.
All right, should we get into it?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, where we left off was our trio. Ayla, Bryn, and Bowie fell into a spiked pit that was actually a hunting trap set by Ayla's family, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think so.
And luckily, Amori, I think is how we were pronouncing it, and Ewan found them just in time, and they all went back to her childhood home where her ex-lover, Tomas, had patched up Bryn because he got like wood from that little explosion that they caused stuck in his side.
Yeah.
And then Ayla went to take a bath in a lake, talking to Tomas on the way, and was caught Bryn watching them through the window. And he's jealous.
And he's jelly. He's jelly bean.
Okay, chapter 25. Ayla is walking towards the bayou when she is plagued with another bout of PTSD. She thinks about her conversation with Bowie when he asked, "Why are you still lying?" When she said, just because she wants to fight doesn't mean she's angry. And he's like, you're lying.
You're lying to me.
When she gets to the bayou, which is called Summer Lake, Bryn is already there, chest deep in the water. So he like took a faster route.
I think she said that she had been contemplating.
She was like lost in
those
thought.
words for like a while. But it was when I was thinking about that too, I was like, I can just imagine Bryn just like running.
Sprinting to get to the lake.
before her to get naked.
And it does say that she must have been lost in thought for a long time for him to have beat her there. She thinks that she would fight for him if he were king, but that just wasn't a possibility. He would always be an anarchist. And she's sad at that realization. Then he calls out to her because I guess she's just staring at him. He says, I'm about to get out. You can watch if you want, but don't swoon and hit your head on something.
Ooh.
Was that a good line?
Yeah, it's fine. It's
funny.
not like a panty dropper, but it's good.
It's cute.
It's on the way.
She hides behind a tree, chastising herself for leering at him because she was. She walked up on him, lost in thought, silently leering at him until he spoke. I think that's so funny. But she struggles with her growing feelings for him and the fact that he's a king killer. Like, she's constantly warring within herself. He gets out of the water and she has to concentrate not to stare at his naked chest. He tells her to be careful because Araxa's men could still be after them, and it was Ewan that had asked him to come out here to keep an eye on her. So Ayla takes her headband off, shaking her hair free, and Bryn is clearly affected. He's staring. He's like, you can't do that around me. Like, what are you even doing? I'm going to lose my mind. She just asks how his wound is, and he says, better since your lover sewed me up. Oh, it's like, way to go from 0 to 100. Like, okay, let's get into it.
Yeah, it's like not the least subtle thing that's ever happened.
And then he's like, you're in love with him. And she's like, he's my friend. You were spying on us. And he's like, well, I don't like him. And he says it's his business. She's like, it's none of your business anyways. He's like, it is my business because he doesn't want to lose his army's commander to some country boy, which is the first time that he had taken ownership of the kingship. But he says he wants to do what's right, even though he doesn't deserve it. And then Bryn pushes her into the lake, fully clothed. So she drags him on top of her, and they're flirting and joking, and they're holding hands. And then he asks her what it was like coming home after growing up here. There must have been memories everywhere. And she's like, there's nothing to fear from memories. And what he's really afraid of is the Dunwian people not accepting him as their king. There's a lot of chat and a lot of it's really tough to get to like the meat of what actually they're talking about.
Yeah, they like
so this is like confusing the way that I'm saying it.
No, they love to dance around the point.
Yeah.
Like, it's honestly, it's so realistic to a conversation you'd actually have, which I do appreciate about it, but it's also infuriating.
It's like, what are we talking about?
To recap on?
Yes, exactly. Like, I had to go through, like, how do we get here? Well, because of this. Well, what did that mean? It doesn't really mean anything because we're going here.
Because we're going here. Yeah, exactly.
So sorry about that. But anyways, Ayla put it together that one of the reasons that Bryn joined Splinter was because he doesn't trust himself to make the right decisions. And how could he? Because of what happened with King Sabin. And at Splinters, he was able to mindlessly follow orders. So that makes sense. He tells her that he knows that she fights because she's angry. And when she tries to deny it, he says, I don't care if you lie to me, but you're lying to yourself. She doesn't want to hear this bullshit. So she goes underwater. He hauls her up by her arms and tells her to tell the truth. His face was inches from hers. And she says, fine, I'm angry at King Marcus for the war he started. That's like not something that you have to hide. Of course you would be angry at King Marcus.
Yeah, I mean, she's the commander of armies. She watched thousands. I mean, it says that she started with 10,000 people and ended with 7,000 people. She watched thousands of her people die on the battlefield.
Yeah, and she said, angry at King Marcus for forcing her to kill people. And then she calls herself a killer like him, and Bryn hates that. He tells her that she's different. She killed Niell's champion to end the war and to stop the death. He says, you have to forgive yourself for making mistakes. In fact, I'm about to make one right now. Okay, so another like pivot, 0 to 100.
Seriously.
He kisses her, and it's, for Ayla, an explosion of sensations. And in his touch was a hunger to eliminate any space between them, which I liked that imagery. She wraps her legs around him, runs her fingers through his hair, but then thinks about when she killed Niell's champion by grabbing his hair and wrenching his head back to slit his throat. So she's
knife
having
to the throat.
PTSD again.
Yeah.
And she thinks about other things too, and blood and killing and stuff. And they didn't say it, but they both knew that she pulled away because Bryn killed King Sabin, and everything is fucked up because of it. Ayla then got up and went back to the house, leaving him there.
Oh, it's so infuriating that she doesn't actually even consider the gray dream. It's seriously so infuriating.
Yeah. I wonder how prevalent the gray dream is in this world. Like, is it only, it seems new.
It is new. We did talk about this last episode.
Right.
It is new. But my thing is this, and I stand by it. For everything that we have read up until this point, gray dream has been a very prominent
in their
thing.
adventures.
They've encountered it a ton of times. She's seen so many people on Grey Dream.
You're right.
Like, there's been so many things that she knows what it is now. Like, that's what they're trying to stop. This is what they're trying to somewhere in her mind.
Yeah, you're right.
It's like she's so smart about so many things, and even Bowie.
Well, it's got to be hard. I mean, everybody in the whole world, or like in their world or whatever, knows that Brynn killed King Sabin. So it's just ingrained in her from every other facet of her life.
Well, even Bowie, right? Like Bowie, who's been so ingrained in it, like he doesn't know the details of that night, to be fair. But he is so sure that Brynn is not a killer, that it's not his nature. He's seen his nature. Yeah. He should have some sort of red flag going along. Like, there's got to be more to this story.
Right.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Do we already know at this point? Oh, no, we don't.
No, we don't. This was a theory that we had before.
Yeah.
And
like,
I still think.
Yeah, because she's constantly warring with herself because Brynn, the way that she sees him, like, he's a good guy. He's not a killer. He's not killing people when he's fighting. Like, but he killed King Sabin. So how am I supposed to feel? I don't know. I don't get it.
Ugh, it's hard.
Yeah. Chapter 26. Ayla takes the long way home. She struggles with how she felt when Brynn kissed her and the fact that he killed her surrogate father. When she gets back to the house, Brynn is already there, and he was comforting Bowie after a nightmare. So he beat her back to the house from the lake. It's hilarious.
Is she the slowest walker that's ever lived?
Or he's just sprinting.
Or she's just like looping the town a couple times.
Yeah,
I'm not sure.
Yeah, she like had to think. She had to go on a thinking walk. Brynn and Bowie have a conversation about why Brynn couldn't tell Bowie who he really was, and that it's okay to be angry with him for that. And do you understand why I couldn't tell you that he was like the prince? Bowie said, well, I can't be angry with you because you're going to be the king. And Brynn's like, well, it's not, feelings don't work like that, Bowie. Like, no one can tell you how to feel. And then he tells Bowie when he figures out how to take back the throne, and he wants him to come live with him in the castle. Bowie doesn't think that's a good idea. And Brynn is confused as to why. Like, where else would he go? Where else would you go, Bowie? But he tells Brynn that he wants to help when he goes back to the city to take the throne. He wants to fight. That's a resounding no. And they debate on what they're going to do with him then. Leave him with Walter? They're like, well, he can't come, because that's what they're doing, right? They're going back to Dunwyn to fight for the throne, and Bowie can't come with him. So where else is he going to do?
Yeah.
Where else
and
is he
at this point,
go?
we think Bowie's the king.
Right.
Or the future king. So
and
back to Niall.
Do they assume that as well?
No, they don't assume any of that as of right now.
They just want him to be safe.
They just want him to be safe. Yeah.
And so Brynn thinks that Walter's is the safest place for him right now. Bowie doesn't want to be sent away. He thinks he can help. Brynn just tells him to go back to sleep. And Bowie says, but you don't know everything, ... And Brynn is like, we're not going to talk about it like that. Don't worry. We'll worry about it later. But Bowie tells him not to talk to him like he's a stupid kid, and shows him the papers that were stacked on top of the barrels of the Grey Dream in Arax's camp when they blew everything up. So there was like a stack of papers on top of the barrels of the Grey Dream at Arax's camp that I didn't mention because I was like,
didn't know for sure if it would be important.
Why? Like why am I going to mention this stack of papers that blows up?
Yeah.
But it is important because it was an order for 12 barrels of Grey Dream with Arax's name on them and the initials AB. So they're like Alvine and ... Oh, so it's Alvine's initials, Arax's initials, and the steward's insignia made by the ring Huntley wore on her finger was also on the paper. So they're all in and out together.
Yeah, which is...
So that was a huge reveal, I think.
I feel like it was huge, but it also wasn't that big. It was like obviously they were all in on it together.
They knew it, but this was like solid proof.
But the question was why?
Yes. The question now is why. So Huntley knew about the soldiers. She is involved. She helped Alvine pay for the drugs. These papers signed the entire territory of Dunwyn over to Niall. Huntley is giving Dunwyn to Niall.
That was the big. That was one of the big revelations.
Yes.
Yeah.
They must have been planning this for years. Huntley was in a tear when the Niellan prince went missing, and they're like, could she have killed the prince? And why would she give away her territory? She's not one to shy away from power. Bowie starts to answer. He's like, you haven't worked it out. She doesn't care about taking power for herself as long as ... And then a terrible scream in the night cuts them off. They look outside. I know he's just about to reveal it.
Every time Bowie has all the information, they always interrupt him. They never let him speak. And then right when they're finally about to let him speak, some environmental thing cuts them off.
Environmental.
It's so annoying.
Yeah. Oh no.
I'm like, reveal the rest of it.
Get it out. What is it? They look outside and the house on the far side of the town is on fire. There are people raiding the town on horseback. And did talk to text when I originally wrote this, and raiding was RATING. So they're like raiding the town.
They're raiding it.
They're like, this building is a 2 out of 10. 2 out of 4. But it's raiding. They're RAIDING-ing the town. I thought it was so funny when I went back and read them.
That's hilarious.
It's Araxa's mercenaries. Amori comes down the stairs with a sword, and Ayla thinks about what Tomas had said earlier, because they're like, what are your defenses? And he said, you've got a sword, and you're it. But he has a sword. I'm like, what the? Why are they lying? He tells her to go. He's like, you guys need to leave. She doesn't want to go. She has to stay and fight for her family and protect them. She sees Tomas and his mother being approached by a mercenary, and Ayla throws her sword through his throat from afar. And Tomas yells at her to go too. They want her to get out of here safely, and she wants to stay and fight. Bryn had followed her with 0 weapons, but he was still swinging away Merle, and was still a formidable opponent. Signs. Have you ever seen Signs? M. Night Shyamalan?
No.
Swing away Merle. Oh,
no, I was confused. I was like, what?
He still gave me a courtesy chuckle. I appreciate that. But he's like, we need to go. And she does not want to leave them. But he convinces her that fighting right now is a quick fix. It won't stop Huntley, and we need to end this altogether. Even Bowie is taking people down. When Ayla turns back to her childhood home, it is entirely engulfed in flames. Oh. Amori bursts out of the house, sword in one hand and a small wooden box in the other. He gives her the box and says, take this and don't open it now. It's from your father. Sorry, I should have given it to you sooner, but you need to go. He's like, I'm so sorry. This is from your dad. She knows she has to go and begs Amori to come with them. He just kisses her on the forehead and says, open the box when you're safe and in private. Quote, how did you say goodbye to someone you've known your whole life? How did you thank someone for a lifetime of sacrifices? She puts the box in her pocket, turns her back on her burning village, and runs after Bryn and Bowie.
Seriously, she looks at King Saban as if he's her only father figure, but she was literally
raised by two
amazing men.
That is...
I noticed that from like the very, I didn't say anything about it last week, but I noticed that from the very beginning, and I was like, that's crazy. Yeah. Especially now that we've met Amori and Ewan and like have seen just like how paternal they are.
Why did she leave to join the army in the first place?
So this is another point I had actually. So
she had it good
because mercenaries. No, I didn't think it was a bad thing. Mercenaries would always raid her town, and she was like
tired of this.
She was tired of it. She wanted to be able to protect.
That makes sense.
Her town. So she, Tomas took the healing route. She took the fighting route. But she always said how her village would always be like raided and burned, and houses and homes constantly would be burned. But apparently, her house had never been burned down because she acts like this is the first time her house has ever been burned down.
It must be. So
I thought that was crazy because of how many raids that they've had and how many houses she's always seen, and how she's talked about how her village has been like burned to the ground more than once. They can't they don't pay for anything else other than like
they're
house
just constantly
supplies.
Rebuilding, and then they raid it again.
Yes.
My gosh.
So I was like confused about that. I was like, this can't be the first time.
Yeah, I don't know.
Now my third point, haven't said it yet, is at this point again we still think that Bowie is going to be the king. Mm-hmm. That's our theory. And he's like all pissed off at Bryn for not telling Bryn who he is. And I'm reading this thinking, you 9-year-old little fucking hypocrite. Because
you're hiding something as well.
We know he's hiding something. Mm-hmm. And we know it's big. Mm-hmm. And I'm thinking it's that he's going to be the king. And I'm like, if you're going to be the king and you're not, you're basically the same position as Bryn, you're not telling him. And you're mad he didn't tell you.
With you, Bowie.
And you're being a little hypocrite.
Oh my gosh, he's only 9.
He's only 9 though. That's fair.
Bowie. Moving on. Chapter 27. Ayla's emotions are stormy. She feels guilty. She left her family and her village to be slaughtered. And I thought they for sure were going to be slaughtered.
I did too. I thought they were all going to die. I thought that was like they're going to die thing.
Right. Earlier, they stole 2 horses from a secluded farm and are now riding in silence. Bowie is sleeping against Bryn's chest. Ayla's dark mood lingered for 5 days as they traveled. Finally, she breaks her silence and asks Bryn how he plans on proving how they plan on proving Huntley's treachery. If they go back, every anarchist in Underground will be out to kill them, and we need to prove beyond a piece of paper. We need proof beyond a piece of paper, because that's all they have. And then she's like, we need ... to talk to Splinter. And I was like, Splinter? Like, I don't care about Splinter. I don't want him back in the story, but it makes sense. It makes sense.
We knew he was going to come back some way, somehow.
I just don't like him.
Allying with him is crazy, but I get it to an extent.
Yeah.
How they understand that he's a part of this more at this point is I don't understand that.
Oh wait, yeah. Because they're like, we need proof beyond a piece of paper. We need Splinter. Oh, because he sold the Grey Dream too.
But they don't know that.
Well, they know he had the Grey Dream.
They stole the Grey Dream from Splinter. But
so
how would he have a record of that?
Oh, maybe. I mean, it's a lead worth following.
That is fair. But do you get what I'm saying? Where they're like, we got to talk to Splinter.
Yeah, he's got all
Splinter's our answer.
Yeah.
But it's like, they know that he had the meeting to kill Prince Bryn. He might have proof of that. But beyond that, really,
but they do know him and Huntley are working together because Huntley
had worked together on one other thing, but they don't know what that thing is. Yeah. It could literally be anything.
So I mean, it's a logical next choice.
Sure. In my head, I do get it.
Yeah,
but that's not where my first. I'm like, well,
yeah, don't go back there.
Yeah,
he wants to kill Bryn,
not Splinter. Yeah, that's my thing. How are we going to combat that?
Right.
How are we going to combat the fact that he like wants to kill Bryn?
I don't know. They fall into silence, and Bryn breaks it by asking, I need to know if you'll ever see me as anything but a murderer. He's like, I can just imagine it's churning in his head, like, because they had that kiss and they're clearly attracted to each other. They have chemistry, but then she keeps pushing him away. Yeah. And he's like, I just need to know. She tells him that their kiss at Summer Lake was a mistake, and he is visibly hurt, startled, and confused, and apologizes if he was presumptuous or made her feel. And then she cuts him off and says, I can't. With everything that's happened, I just can't, okay? I just can't. And he understands, hopelessness radiating off of him. It's so sad.
It makes me want to cry into a pillow for the rest of the time.
Oh. They make it to Walter's, and Walter is delighted to see them. His spiderweb tattoo on his cheek is distorted by his wide smile. He sees the state of them and tells them to go inside for food, and his assistant will take care of their horses. And they're like, oh my gosh, assistant? And he's like, yeah, he's new. He's a new hire. He came right after you left. And it turns out that his new assistant was the Dunwean soldier that was on Grey Dream that they had met on the road that had escaped Araxa.
That's incredible.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
And he was perfectly fine because Walter had made more of the antidote for him. And Bowie is in disbelief because it worked. The antidote worked. Walter offers them all new clothes, and the only thing he had for Ayla was a dress, which was pretty standard dress for Dunwean women, but she hadn't worn a dress in 5 years. And she's only 21. I felt the need to write.
Oh shit! So when she was 15, that's the last time she wore a dress.
Yeah. So she hasn't been
probably
like
filling it out the way that she's never filled out before.
Yeah, true.
Good for her.
Walter had also given them free reign of his stash of confiscated weapons, and so she strapped a sword to her waist. Because she was like, oh my gosh, I'm like way too girly. So she like strapped a sword to her waist to make it more sensible.
Yeah.
Bowie was off somewhere, probably making more Grey Dream antidote, and so Bryn and Ayla find themselves alone in their room. Bryn asked if she would be mad if he complimented her appearance in the dress, and she said, not if it's a good one. So he said, quote, you look the way you always look, beautiful, and I bet you could still fight better than anyone. You'd probably find a way to strangle your opponent with your skirt. I'm sure you thought about all the ways it could be used as a weapon. Ayla smiled and said the belt would be better for strangulation. It's harder to hate Bryn when they're alone together, but he can see her shutting him out and tells her to stop. You need to let someone in. It's the only way you'll heal. She has an internal battle with herself that she doesn't need anyone. She hasn't since she was 16, but maybe she does, but she couldn't reach out. He touches her cheek and confesses that he's afraid of what's going to happen when they go to Dunwald. Quote, you're snoring.
Is that what's happening?
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't sure.
I got to wake up. Quote, you're the strongest person I've ever met, but I know you're afraid too. I know you don't trust anyone. I know you said us being together is a mistake, and I understand why, after what I took from you. But I'm still hoping like a fool that you'll trust me. As long as you believe I'm worthy of you, I can handle losing this fight. I can handle losing anything, Ayla, except you. Let me in. It won't make you weak. You could never be weak. Damn.
Dude, Bryn, when he decides to actually just like say what he needs to say, is so
He
good with
says
his words.
Oh, yeah.
She's not, but he is.
Yeah, I've quoted a lot of his long quotes because I'm like, they're good. They're like,
I have a really long one at the end too.
good.
Oh, you know?
yeah, it's so good.
It's so good.
She doesn't care about anything else. She needs him right now. They kiss. They undress each other. It's desperate. It's mindless. And nothing like it was. It was nothing like it was with Tomas, is what she's thinking.
Tomas.
Bryn's touch was soft as silk. He bites her bottom lip and she gasps. And he says, like that, do you? I'm dying to find out what I can coax from that pretty mouth of yours.
Ugh,
that sounds like Draco Malfoy. Tom Felton as Draco Malfoy.
I saw Zayd Meadows with that for sure.
That as well. Yeah, I don't think Draco would say anything like that, but like the way that it was written, I was like, oh my God, that's Draco.
I gotta read the books before I can tell for sure.
Oh my God, I can't wait to read the book.
I'm really excited.
I wish he. Oh, I said I wish he hadn't said that. I just wish he would.
I really wish he wouldn't have said that. That was
didn't
not
like
good.
that line.
There's something about like saying something about like a pretty mouth that it's just like is not it for me.
Pretty any body part.
Yeah, I actually agree. I agree. Pretty any. I don't think it really, unless you're saying it in a
just
sincere,
sounds nefarious. Yeah,
in like you
a
can say,
father
oh,
figure.
you have pretty eyes. No, even that sounds weird. Beautiful is better. Pretty does sound. Yeah, it sounds like childlike.
Yeah, and I said that all through Haunting Adeline, and you're like, no, it's fine. Well, it's different. It's different. It's different. It's all different.
Yeah, no, I can't disagree. I don't love that. And this feels out of character for him. Like if he says it all the time and it's like his thing is being like kind of a weird
he's
talker,
so
like sex talker.
Yeah, cocky and like says these weird lines and then he's so sincere at other times.
And he's so sincere
genuine.
and then literally the next line is, I want to see what I can make that pretty mouth say. I'm like, no, it's like, wait,
go back.
Why are we going back?
Rewind. Yeah.
Don't get too excited. You barely have her on the hook. You don't want to turn her off now.
Yeah. He's got to let her know all the worst parts of him.
Oh,
I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
All right. Ayla makes to take his pants off and he says, not yet. I wanted to get on my knees for you ever since you held that knife to my throat in Underground.
Now this is Rhysand and I love that.
Yes.
Is that not Rhysand? That's
yes.
Rhysand as fuck.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Anyways, I lost my spot.
Sorry.
He kisses her everywhere teasingly and then she watches him drop with her eyes on hers to his knees. Bryn Ryland, the arrogant, selfish, spoiled son of King Sabin, on his knees for her. She begs him for more, and he says he's never wanted anyone the way he wants her. And then he finger fucks her and is licking her clit. He stops before she can come, pushes her back on the bed. She grabs his cock and says, I need you now. He hesitates, and he says, there's no going back from this. And she says, I want you to fuck me. And he's like, anything you want. So he fucks her on the bed and then against the wall, and then they come together. It was passionate. It was desperate. It gave, we are going to war soon and we might die. It was pretty good.
Well, and he also says, like, I could not only have this once. I have to have more of this.
Yeah. Oh.
So basically everything he did, I'm going to give him like a A-.
Okay.
Because literally that one line. That's it, though. Everything else was perfect.
It was good. It was so good.
Everything else was no notes, except for the one line.
Except for that one line. Yeah, I did like it. I enjoyed it. And there's another one later that's really good. Spoiler. Afterwards, they go downstairs into the inn. It's becoming so easy to separate the Bryn she knows from the one that everyone told her he was. Across the bar or whatever, Bowie is shoveling soup into his mouth at a table when some man starts bullying him for being Niellan. The man's like, get up. And Bowie just kind of stayed silent, but he's about to do something. Bowie's like, the hamster
wheel is turning. Yeah.
The hamsters are running.
There's like 3 of them at the same time. Racing each other.
And the man is like, move. And Bowie takes his knife out and cuts through the man's shirt. And he's like, you move. I think he pins his like cuff to the table.
Yeah, he stabs his shirt cuff
to the table. And he's like, you move. And Bryn is like, God damn it, Bowie, you had to draw a weapon. And then he's like, go back to your room. Ayla and Bryn are both exasperated and like fed up with this man's shit. And they're like, just get out of here before we run you through with our swords. And he says, not if I run you through first. And I think that's a quote. Not if I run you through first. And he moves toward them when he's stabbed from behind with a sword and he falls, revealing Splinter.
My favorite trope ever is the guy that thinks he's the big bad tough guy up against a guy that is, or like people that are actually like would rock the fucking shit out of that guy, but he thinks he's the baddest like whatever baddie in the world, and then he just gets fucking laid out. Yeah, that's like that's my fafavorite trope. I think. Like, really? I'm so serious. I'm obsessed with just like those little things. I'm like, yeah, like
I love that.
Fuck him up.
Get Schadenfreude.
Schadenfreude. What was that again?
Rock, paper, scissors. Enjoying other people's demise.
Yes. Oh my God. I enjoy.
Yeah.
I do enjoy that. That's so bad. What does that say?
That's when we were talking about like when you're driving and someone is being like really annoying and they get pulled over by the cops and you're like, yes.
That makes me feel good.
Yeah,
I can't even lie. Yeah. What that says about me, I don't know, but I love it.
And Splinter says, quote, the only one who gets to kill my people is me.
Like he's having a little. I said it like I thought of it like more suave, but the way that you said it was like a child having a tantrum.
So you say
the only one who gets to have my people killed is me.
You do it.
The only one in like a suave way.
It's suave.
He's like picking lint off his thing. He's like, the only people that get to kill my people is me.
Okay, that's so much better. Cut what I said. Retake.
It's like picking lint off of his shirt.
Or blood flecks. Like dotting it.
Yeah, or he's like wiping the blood off the blade.
The sword, yeah.
That is, I love when people do that.
Okay, so sorry, I misinterpreted that. Chapter 28. Ayla puts her sword between Splinter and Bryn protectively. They think Splinter might attack them, but he says if he wanted to do that, he would have announced his presence like that. Then he says, did you really think I'd let 3 of my people vanish? And he reveals that he knows that Slate is Prince Bryn.
Your Highness.
And they're like, how long have you known? And he says, quote, I knew at my house when you woke up chained to the bed. I knew in the castle when I slipped Grey Dream into your drink. I knew in the hallway when I found you alone and directed you to your father's chambers. I knew when I watched you drive your knife into his heart. Oh my gosh, what a reveal. I didn't know it was Splinter. I didn't know Splinter did all that.
I didn't know it was Splinter either. We obviously knew it was the Grey Dream. We knew it was the Grey Dream.
So sorry, we knew. We didn't assume. We knew who Bryn was.
We did. We knew Bryn's character. We weren't questioning his character. Not like Ayla and Bowie, apparently.
Yes, but I didn't know Splinter was that closely involved.
I really didn't either. I'm shocked by that.
Yeah. Bryn lunges for Splinter while Ayla's world tilts on its axis, reframing Bryn in her mind. She immediately accepts the story as like, okay.
Well, yeah, because it's what makes sense.
And all the puzzle pieces are fitting into place. Splinter not only stole Sabin from both of them, but he also stole Ayla and Bryn from each other. Despite everything she knew about Bryn, she let other people convince her he was nothing more than a killer. So she does admit that. Splinter says it wasn't personal, it was all business. And if you have a problem with that, take it up with Huntley Barnaby. And Bryn's like, it was business? Like, that's my father that you killed.
He gave his sperm so I could be alive today.
Yeah, he gave it.
He willingly gave his sperm.
Bryn wants to fight Splinter to the death, but Ayla stops him. Splinter's word will corroborate their evidence against Huntley. They need him alive. Then Splinter tells Bryn he's only alive right now because he knew he could profit off his death at some point, which is kind of rude. Like, come on.
Yeah, it's very Splinter.
Be real.
It's very Splinter.
Yeah, it's just like, geez. Then Dagny comes out of nowhere, and Bryn and Bowie both disarm him while Ayla's sword is at Splinter's throat. Drink. No, you don't have to drink.
I'll drink.
Bryn says to Dagny, quote, you keep showing up like a bad smell, or mold, or syphilis. That was a funny line.
Also, where's Nuala and Laz?
They're back at the mansion.
Okay.
I don't know what they're...
locked up in their rooms. Got it.
Yeah. I don't know what their orders were, but...
Not allowed to talk to each other.
I think that's the consensus. Don't talk to each other. Don't come out. Splinter says he and Huntley are colleagues. They're working together towards something that would benefit both of them. They're not friends. Bryn doesn't care. He says, agree to my terms or I will make sure that you're hunted for the rest of your life. And here are the terms. Come with us to Dunwald, expose the truth about Huntley to the council, and disappear into Underground and do your business in peace. Splinter's like, I already have a pardon from Huntley. You are a murderer and a fugitive, and you have to answer for that. To that, or whatever. And Ayla laughs at how short-sighted he is. and says, help us and you won't regret it. And Splinter is open to negotiate. He's a businessman. So he's like, all right, let's talk.
Yeah. Who has a better offer?
Yeah. Chapter 29. They're sitting down to negotiate and Splinter wants Bowie. Bryn says no, but so does Bowie. He says he has to work here with Walter. He's like, I got work to do. I have to stay here. I don't want to go with Splinter.
I got to ask, who would you be more afraid of, Araxa or Splinter?
Araxa or Splinter? So Splinter...
Alive Araxa, obviously.
You think?
I would be more afraid of Araxa than
I feel like
Splinter.
they're the same.
I say Araxa because Araxa has more people.
Oh, okay.
Araxa,
yeah.
and we know has
Splinter
more
has
people.
like 5.
Yeah. Splinter. I mean, he may run the underground, but he has literally 5 people on his payroll.
So
I still say I'm for whatever reason I'm not as afraid of Splinter as I am of Araxa. Araxa gives
maybe
me
because
chills.
she's a woman. Yeah, and you don't expect that kind of like cold-bloodedness from a woman.
We know what female rage can be.
Yeah, true. And Splinter might be like easier. Like you give him what he wants, and you can work with him.
Yeah. You can bargain with Splinter.
Araxa, not so much.
Not so much.
That's true. Splinter's like, okay, I guess we're done here. I don't want anything else except for Bowie. But then Bryn offers him something else. As king, Bryn offers Splinter land of his own to rule as he sees fit, to make his own laws and to be a separate entity. And he likes this idea. Of course he does. It's compelling.
Of course.
They convince him it will work because they have proof beyond an anarchist's word. Also, you have to confess to the king's murder. No one can know that I wielded a knife. Do you agree? Bryn's like, it just won't work unless you confess.
Right.
Amused, Splinter says, hail King Bryn of Dunwyn. Let's do it. So they got him.
Potentially. Yeah.
The next morning, they leave. Ayla, Bryn, Splinter, and Dagny back to Dunwald while Bowie stays behind. And it's very sad because I don't want them to split up. Ayla tells Bowie and Niellan that she knows he's staying to make more cure. I had to say that again.
He's staying to make more cure.
I stuttered. Ayla tells Bowie and Niellan that she knows he's staying to make more cure for King Marcus and that she's proud of him, and so is Bryn. Bowie responds saying, glory to Niel and no other, which I think was jarring for Ayla, but that's like a common thing that Niellans say to each other.
Yeah.
She promises to look after Bryn for him. She purposely went somewhere else during Bryn and Bowie's goodbyes out of respect, which I was like, I want to see that.
I do too.
They're so cute.
I know.
Later when they're riding, Bryn says Bowie was wrong about one thing. He thought I wasn't a killer. And I was like, oh my God, Bryn's about to confess that he didn't take the Grey Dream and he killed his dad on purpose. But that's not what he meant. Talking about the fact that Bryn killed his father while on Grey Dream was a difficult subject to broach. He held the knife, but Ayla says it's more complicated than that. Splinter cuts in and tells them he's not allied with Huntley. He only provided a service. If you want to know what an alliance looks like, ask the steward's friends in Niel. And Ayla's like, Alvine? And Splinter laughs and says, you don't really know anything, do you? He prompts them by asking if they ever thought about who Alvine's mother was. And Ayla puts it together that it was Huntley Bartamy.
Alvine Bartamy, because the initial was A-B.
And what did they think it was?
C-D-E-F-G. I don't know.
Marcus.
Well, because they say that a bastard takes the last name of the mother,
that
not
makes
the
sense.
Father.
So it could have been whatever.
So it could have been, it could have been Alvine.
And it did.
Baba.
Alvine Baba.
And her mom was a sheep.
Okay.
Anyways.
It's not important. Bryn clears this up for us by saying, quote, I suppose now we know what Huntley was doing on all those diplomatic visits to Niel. King Marcus was really penetrating the Dunwian culture, if you know what I mean. Ooh. Ayla's like, can you please take this seriously? Splinter says he never would have agreed to his deal with Huntley if he had known, because war is bad for business. And he had found out after making the deal. Now it feels like they're all on the same page. They need to go to Dunwald and stop Alvine and Huntley's plans. They go to Splinter's house in Underground and it's empty. Laz and Nuala are not there, and that is unexpected. But someone is there. They see blood on the ground, and then Araxa Loren makes her presence known. She's not dead, everybody.
I texted Corey and I was like, oh my God.
And I know. I was like, oh my God, she's back. We thought maybe that she didn't die.
We did have that theory in our last episode.
I thought maybe she did, but there's a possibility that she didn't.
Yeah.
And then she comes back. And with her were at least 30 men. so the majority of her men had survived the blast.
30. She has 30 men.
Yeah.
To Splinter's
5.
Well, 5. Now we don't know where. They never specified if Naz and Laz and Nuala and Laz died or if they ran away.
Right. They don't come back, do they?
They don't come back.
Yeah. So I'm assuming they're dead because of the blood on the floor.
Well, Laz could have gone back to Niel. And Nuala, we don't know where Nuala's from. But I always said that I didn't think that they had that much of a
connection to Splinter. Yeah, they could just go where the wind takes them.
Yeah, but if they ran, I mean, who knows if they could have found that inch?
Maybe, hopefully, we'll find out in a sequel.
Seriously, I'd like to know.
But Araxa is here because she was tasked with delivering 12 barrels of Grey Dream to a tear, and she didn't deliver those 12 barrels. And someone has to answer to that. And she looked at Bryn pointedly. Ayla knows they're in deep shit when Araxa says, take them to the steward. Chapter 30. Ayla and company are escorted into the throne room where Huntley sits on the dais. Huntley is not surprised to see them. She looks bored. Araxa says, Steward, we succeeded where you failed. Here's the fugitive prince you've been searching for. Why say that?
Yeah, that's a terrible thing to say.
So you're like, yeah. The queen or whatever, the steward, like, I did what you couldn't.
And also in hindsight, knowing the history, that is a crazy thing for her to say in general.
I don't know.
We'll talk about that later. Yeah. But if I remember, in hindsight, because I won't I probably won't remember. But in hindsight, if you guys remember, this is a crazy thing for her.
She said, we succeeded where you failed. Here's the fugitive prince you've been searching for. Okay. Moving on. She's
not like, that specifically, just like how she's pushing Araxa.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Or pushing Huntley, I mean.
Right. She's like, okay, you think 4 criminals is fair exchange for 12 barrels of Grey Dream? Araxa says, I brought them because they destroyed the Grey Dream and they know. You see, I don't leave loose ends. And that perks Huntley right up. She walks up to Araxa, her orange-cloaked Niellan guards walking with her, and tells her sadly they have something in common then. I don't leave loose ends either. Blood splatters across Ayla as Araxa fell. Her guards then killed the rest of Araxa's men. Huntley says to Ayla that they outlived their usefulness, but you haven't. And Bryn says, I'll show you what I have to offer, and aggressively flicks Huntley off. Just so out of pocket and unexpected. But Huntley tells them they'll be executed publicly tomorrow, which will help move Dunwyn on a clear path to a brighter future. The people of Dunwyn want peace, and handing themselves over to Niel will grant them that peace. King Sabin and Prince Bryn don't matter anymore, and they never mattered. And then she looks at Ayla and tells her she doesn't need to hang tomorrow with these anarchists, and begs her to be on the right side of history by helping her. Ayla thinks about her fight with Huntley and how she left it with admiration and respect, but she also thinks about King Sabin and the morals he'd instilled in her. Ayla tells Huntley she'll die before she lets her betray Dunwyn, and Huntley says, as you wish, and orders them to be locked up. So I love Araxa comes back only just to be slit in the throat, like right away.
Literally immediately. I had texted you after I learned Araxa was alive, and then like, 2 minutes later she's dead. And I'm like, oh shoot. I thought it was gonna be.
And then she's like, oh my God, there's a huge twist coming up. And so I was looking at every spoken word. I was like, for a reveal. And so it was so funny. I'm like, is it Splinter? No. Is it, oh my God, Bryn's a killer. No. It's Araxa's
and then
back.
it's just Araxa for 5 pages.
She's gone. R.I.P. R.I.D.
I was like,
again.
never mind. Not that big of a twist. My bad.
Rest in distress.
Rest in distress. Again. Officially. See you in hell, bitch. Okay. Chapter 31. They are locked in a cell, and Bryn is annoyed with Ayla because she keeps pacing back and forth because she's got anxiety. Bryn has seemed to build up his walls again, and it's making Ayla anxious ever since he learned that he killed his father on Grey Dream. Yeah. He's just been distant, basically. Not to mention that while they are locked in a cell, Huntley and Alvine come closer to destroying or taking over Dunwyn.
Yeah.
It's so sad. Splinter and Bryn have a little back and forth that annoys Ayla further because it seems that they're not taking any of this as seriously as she'd like them to. As she's kind of chastising Bryn for appearing as though he's given up, Bowie shows up with Mason, Chase, and Landon.
Oh my gosh.
To rescue them.
I wonder how Bowie got there.
So This is obviously a surprise because Bowie was supposed to be staying with Walter.
Oh, so he does explain it.
Yes. But as Bryn checks Bowie over for any injuries, Bowie explains that Walter was taken shortly after they had all left to be in prison in Dunwald.
No.
And
where they're at.
Yeah, but I don't know. They never mentioned that he was there. So he must be like in a different part of the cells or something like that. So Bowie came back to Splinter's house to try and find them because they're like, he's like, maybe Ayla and Bryn will help me break Walter out. But no one was there. And so he assumed they had all been arrested. So he found some help, obviously, in Chase, Landon, and Mason to get them all broken out.
I want to see that deleted scene.
Same. Bowie's just got it. He really has just got it. When Mason refers to Bryn as Prince, Ayla corrects him by stating that he is the king now, implying he will be taking his rightful place on the throne.
And also implying that she accepts that?
Yeah. I think she's always accepted it because she's always been pushing for it, but she just wasn't sure how that was going to work. But now that Bryn had that plan that he would blame it all basically on Splinter and Splinter would take the blame willingly, I think now it's more...
She sees the vision.
Yeah, she's on board.
She can get behind it.
Obviously, like, they're all confused and also concerned because Bryn killed King Nick Saban.
Right?
So what are we going to do here? But Ayla tells them that Huntley ordered the Anarchists to kill the king and that the Anarchists, a.k.a. Splinter, will testify to this in a court of law. No, just in the council. Ayla lays out a plan. Chase and Landon will go and find any soldiers ready to take up their posts and take them to Splinter's manor, and they will be ready to await Ayla's signal when they are needed, because they are going to be needed.
Yes.
Bowie and Dagny will show them the way. Mason and Splinter will go with Bryn and Ayla to do what they have to do, which they don't explain it. They just basically say, like, do what they gotta do.
You know?
Chase
do your thing.
Yeah, do their thing. Chase and Landon fight this at first because they're like, we should be by Bryn and Ayla's side. Like, we are, like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like, we're
like we were
the
friends.
guards.
Right.
Like,
Yeah,
we do the big jobs, right? But Bryn shows his authority and tells them to trust in the plan. Mm-hmm. They all agree to do as they are told and basically pledge their allegiance to Bryn.
We pledge allegiance to the king of Dunwald.
To Dunwin of Dunwald to the Dunwin country of Dunwin and to the Republic and to the monarch by which it stands, one nation under King Bryn with liberty and justice for all. That's what it is.
I love it.
I love that.
It's beautiful.
I wonder if Nicole's going to understand that because they probably have some sort of different
I'm sure she
Australian pledge of allegiance.
Yeah, Nicole, let us know.
Yeah. I pledge allegiance to Australia. Australia.
I pledge allegiance to the flag. Yeah, okay.
It's different. It's definitely
Australia.
different. Yeah. It's definitely different because I can't even.
That's too much to think about. Getting overwhelmed.
We got a little off topic. Sorry about that. As they leave, Ayla turns and notices Splinter and Bowie talking in hushed voices, but she can't make out what they're saying. But they don't interrupt them at all.
Yes.
When they finish, Bryn asks Bowie what that was about, but Bowie doesn't answer. He just kind of like steps aside
information when I want to.
Yeah. Bowie then apologizes for not telling Bryn about Huntley and Alvine being like related, and Bryn forgives him easily.
Oh,
Bryn, yeah, because he's just like the sweetest. Well, and he specifically says Bryn does that he'd forgive Bowie for anything, and Bowie's like, anything? You promise?
He's like, really? I need that.
Bowie's got a secret.
I'm gonna need that soon.
Got a secret. Can you keep it? Bowie. I actually have never watched one episode of that in my life.
Pretty Little Liars?
Not one episode ever in my life.
I think I watched all of it. It was good. It was like cliffhanger after cliffhanger after cliffhanger after cliffhanger for 6 seasons.
I'm obsessed with that. I want to watch it one day. Bowie then leaves and Ayla turns to Splinter and reaffirms that he will get what he's promised if he does what he's supposed to do. And Splinter's like, yeah, I'll do it. But if you don't give me what I want, then you better find that inch. I'll make a promise.
Can we keep this running joke throughout all the episodes?
He's like, he was threatening the shit out of them.
Yeah.
As they all take off down the hall to the council meeting, Mason asks Ayla, like, what's going on between you and Bryn?
Oh, I see a little spark.
And Ayla evades the question because she's worried and confused about everything that's happened. She's like, oh my God, I blame Bryn this whole time and I should have like actually
she's feeling
had faith in him.
Guilty.
And,
Like, how's he going to respect me after that?
Yeah, seriously. Bryn comes up to Ayla and asks if she's ready for the council meeting. He doesn't want her to do anything reckless. He tells her that he has been with her for 3 weeks, and before that, he's watched her. She lets her anger control her at times, and he doesn't want any blood on her hands, or doesn't want her blood on his hands. He doesn't want her blood on his hands.
Yeah.
They have a plan. They have a plan, and that's what they're going to stick to. No fighting unless completely necessary. They ran into the guards on their way to the council meeting, actual Dunwald guards.
Okay.
And they were taken to Huntley. There are 6 royal counselors.
Wait, so they escaped prison.
They escaped prison and
because of Mason, Chase, and Landon.
And they ran right in the guards.
Who take them back to Huntley.
But to the council meeting, which is where they're going anyway.
Which is their goal.
Because I also was like, Oh, and before all this, let me preface that when they're in the prison, I think
what?
I'm gonna say it, I don't even care. Ayla says something along the lines of, "It's time to finish this."
Oh yeah. Okay.
And we've got a lot of chapters to go, so nothing's getting finished anytime soon. Let me just preface.
It's just that vibe throughout the rest of the time.
She's always wanting to get it finished. It's never getting finished.
It just doesn't happen.
I don't know if it'll ever will get finished. We need more books.
Yeah.
We do. Yeah. There are 6 royal counselors, and their jaws were all on the floor when Bryn walked in. One counselor named Clemens spoke first regarding Bryn as Prince Bryn, which Bryn corrects him immediately. He's like, "It's King, bitch." He doesn't say that.
In
he says
this role
King
now.
Bryn.
Yeah. He should have. That would have been funny. It would have fit.
King, bitch. But Ayla always gets upset with him for not taking things seriously, which I'm like, Ayla, you need to just lighten up a little bit.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, what is him joking on the long 2-day horse ride back to Dunwald gonna do for you at all?
Right.
It's not gonna hurt.
It's not gonna hurt. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's trying to lift spirits.
Right, exactly. Huntley looked relaxed and called him Prince as well. She said that he fled the castle before he could be convicted. He revealed that he found his father's murderer and brought Splinter forward.
Oh, shoot.
Huntley regarded him, aka Splinter, with disgust and called him an anarchist who wanted to see their city ruined. And Splinter says his business has actually never been better in the recent months. That's a dig at Huntley.
Oh.
Because obviously she's facilitating.
Because he's
their business, his business.
She's the one paying.
Right, exactly. This starts a long conversation where Huntley is trying to refute the accusations of Splinter being Sabin's murderer. Clemens is riding the coattails of Huntley this entire time because he's pretty much known as a dick rider. Oh. Or what is that called? When someone is always trying to get ahead by siding with the person that's right. Or that could probably be right. That he has the best chances with. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I don't know the phrase.
Riding coattails. That's for sure.
Yeah.
But I like dick rider.
Dick rider. I've never heard
but
that.
Holly doesn't have a dick. Pussy rider. Whatever you want to say.
Yeah.
She tries.
It's funny.
She tries to deny Bryn and Sabin being slipped Grey Dream, which, by the way, Sabin was also slipped Grey Dream. But, yeah. So I'm assuming that because he didn't really fight back. So I'm assuming that was to make him
just lay there.
Yeah. But Splinter has a record that he shows to the council of all of his transactions with Huntley.
Okay. Oh, he has receipts.
Which is so crazy that she doesn't understand that he has receipts because
she's signing
she
things?
signs them, but she also seals them with
her insignia.
With her insignia. So the longest paper trail or use someone else or anything truly and honestly.
That's so funny. Her official insignia.
And he's like, "Did you not think that I had this?" It's like, well, of course she knew that he had that because she fucking signed it. And
maybe she's just thought that she had him in his pocket.
Yeah, probably.
Because of her ego.
Yeah, well, Huntley is now placed under arrest, and Huntley orders her guards to kill everyone in the room. And Mason bursts through the door with a bow and an arrow and shoots one of the soldiers. His helmet comes off as he falls to the floor, and it's revealed that he's Niellan to the council because only the council knows that her soldiers are
her
Niellan.
Guards are Niellan.
Yeah, and the council is now really freaking out. They're like,
"Oh my god, I did not see that coming."
Witch. Yes. Oh my god. Mason, Ayla, and Bryn then strike the rest of the Niellans down. They all like have weapons. I don't know if Brynn actually kills anyone here. They do say that they do it together, but I'm assuming that like maybe Brynn just like knocks him out and hands him to Ayla and Mason, and then they do finish the job.
He doesn't.
Right, or maybe he doesn't have a problem killing Niellans. But
he doesn't like killing anybody.
Well, maybe he just knocks them all out. Maybe they all get knocked out.
I don't remember.
They say they strike them down. Like that's how they say it. They strike the rest of them down. Oh. So I'm curious. Maybe that's just knocking them out. But when it was all over, Huntley did not seem concerned, which meant that this wasn't over.
Oh gosh.
Splinter made sure his deal with Brynn would be held true, and Brynn confirmed. Then Splinter left. They sent Mason to look for more soldiers willing to help take up their posts because they needed more people because they knew this was not over. Yeah. Brynn knew too that Alvine was still out there. And again, this wasn't over.
And this is not the end.
We just need to reiterate a couple more times that this is not over. They did not finish this. Okay. No. Chapter 32. They were able to gather about 6,000 soldiers, which is good because remember, like she came home with 7,000.
Holy cow!
Right, to guard the city and to guard the city from the threat that they knew was coming. Ayla had spent the time giving orders and taking reports. Now she was looking out over the ocean to the east, thinking about Sabin. She put her hands in her pocket and felt the box that Amory had given her.
It's been so long. She should have looked at it way sooner.
Or Amory. Fuck. Whatever.
It doesn't matter. So she got the box. They went to Walter's. She could have looked at it at Walter's.
Yeah, but she was too busy fucking.
Yeah, that's true.
Priorities. She wasn't alone. She was, sex is 100% a priority.
Priorities.
I wonder what would have changed if she would have known then, though.
Yeah, I don't think anything. I just wanted to know sooner.
That's true. She figured since she was alone now, it was probably a good time to open whatever this was. Okay. Inside was a necklace, a gold chain with a golden pendant, and on the pendant was the symbol of a golden eagle. Ooh. And this is crazy.
Oh, this is the twist that we were talking about.
That's King Marcus's insignia, but we don't know what that means yet. We don't find out what that means for a little while.
Yeah, I was like, what the heck? Okay. I still don't know.
I was like, and even here, I did not guess. I was so
me either.
confused.
I was like, way to give us information without actually giving us information. It was
I know. Amazing. I was excited to figure it out, but I was like, okay. I'm on board. I need to, how are we going to know what this means,
to keep reading.
Though?
Yeah. Like, I need to find out.
Before she could think too much about it, Brynn called out her name. She hid the pendant before he could see it. They hadn't had a chance to talk yet, seeing as though they were both very, very busy. Like he had taken over the kingship and she was like commanding armies.
That was a lot.
Yeah. They talked about how he is grateful that they were able to gather over, 6,000 people, but he still has doubts in himself. But he's so glad that she's there because what would he do without her? Honestly.
Yeah. I don't know. He wouldn't be there. He'd still be an underground.
He'd still be there. He looked at her with shame in his eyes, and she reached out to touch him and to make him feel better, but he didn't reach back for her. And she realized that too much had happened between them, and she would now be at a professional distance from Brynn, strategizing for him while longing for him at a distance. You can change it.
Don't think that. Oh. It's not too late.
She tried to say something, but Chase ran up to let them know the Niellan army was moving towards Dunwall.
Oh, no.
They'd be there in a matter of hours, and their army was 10,000 soldiers strong.
It reminds me of that scene from Lord of the Rings. When
they're at the... Yes.
What is that place called? The Keep.
Yeah. I don't remember, but yes. Yeah. And when
the Battle of the Two Towers? Is that what it's called?
No.
Why can't I remember?
Ooh, I don't know.
Lord of the Rings.
I can see the scene in my head, but I have no idea what any of it's called.
Lord of the Rings, the Fellowship of the Ring.
And then they were like fucked in the middle of the war, and then more people came. And
then Gandalf came.
Yeah, Gandalf.
The elves. Yeah.
Shout out to Gandalf.
Yeah, drink for Gandalf.
Let's take a drink for Gandalf. The people in the city were seeking refuge in the castle. Alvine had a message for the king as well. She wanted to meet with the king, but she demanded that the steward be present. Ayla turned to Brynn and says, Alvine's not coming for her mother. She's coming for Dunwyn. That's a quote. It's a direct quote.
Ooh. Ugh. How does she know that?
Well, because they know that they want Niall to take over Dunwyn. Oh. So they know that her mother is not going to suffice. With the fact that they probably had launched that army when Brynn and Ayla had escaped means that they had it wasn't like they launched the army
because of that,
because they had captured her mother.
Right.
because it had been like a night.
It's crazy.
They
It's
like
all
ran
happening so fast.
They like ran to Dunwich. Yeah, my mother runs. Alvin doesn't care. Alvin doesn't care. Chapter 33. They bring Huntley to the throne room. I keep spelling throne wrong.
Really?
I keep spelling it like I'd thrown.
Past tense of throw.
Yeah.
That's funny.
They bring Huntley to the throne room, and Ayla is nervous because Huntley seems calm and unsurprised.
Still.
You
need to be worried, Huntley.
Chill. She's chill as fuck. Huntley tells Brynn to enjoy being king while it lasts. Bowie bursts through the door saying that someone showed them. Someone showed them. Just like that.
Okay.
But when Bowie sees Huntley, he reaches for his knife and launches at her.
Oh my God.
He's going to try and kill her.
Jeez.
Huntley, for the first time this entire time, seems surprised.
Yeah.
I thought it was because he was trying to kill her, but that's not why. She was surprised to see Bowie.
Oh, just surprised to see him in general.
Yeah.
She's like, oh, shit.
Brynn grabbed him and stopped him from harming Huntley. He tried to calm Bowie down, but Bowie just kept screaming, "You killed him! You killed him!" I'm a good actress.
Oh, that was amazing.
That was really good.
I'm in it.
Cast me in something.
I can see it in my head.
Christ, I'm in love.
Cast me in something.
A commercial. Bowie tries to tell Brynn that they came in from Anarchist Underground, that someone showed them, but he was cut off. In walks in Alvine, flanked by her Niellan guards. They're not bothering wearing helmets anymore.
Oh, good.
Alvine demanded her mother be returned to her, that she has control of Niel's army at the king's bidding. And Bowie steps up, saying that King Marcus didn't command her there. When Alvine saw him, her eyes went wide.
Like, you're supposed to be dead, I thought.
Yeah. And I think Huntley says something to the effect of like, do you remember that face or something like that? And Alvine's like, who could ever forget a face like that?
Is it?
And then there's like some sort of understanding that passes between Alvine and Huntley that Ayla didn't understand, nor probably did Brynn.
Or me.
We know from the connection later.
Yeah.
Yes. Brynn asks what Alvine wants, and he's like, please, can you like stand your army down?
Please stand down.
Can you just like stand down, please? No, it was more passionate than that. I know for a fact, but it just is funny. She tells him she cannot because they hold a Niellan prisoner in their custody. At first, they all assume that she's talking about Huntley, but then it's revealed that Bowie is the crowned prince of Niell.
We're like, oh, of course he is. Yeah,
we're like, yeah, duh.
Sense.
Like that's yesterday's news.
Look at his features; they're striking.
Yeah. Although I don't know why they would think that because they never said that he looked like a Borderlander. So this is where I was confused because he looks full Niellan,
right?
And he would have had to have been a bastard because if he was the legitimized son of Marcus and his wife, who was Dunwayan, then he would look like a Borderlander,
right?
So
that's interesting. People just accept what they're told sometimes.
Yeah, they see what they want to see.
Yep, they see what they want to see. That's what I was going for.
Well, and we thought that too. I never actually.
Well, you know, it's hard to.
We saw what we wanted to
get
see.
The nuances from this world.
Absolutely.
About like your hair color and hair length and hair eye color. I don't know what it all means. I'm like, okay.
Well, and it's all sometimes like you can look exactly like one parent. So it's like I kind of assume maybe that was what was going on.
Yeah, you never know.
Everyone is in shock, especially Brynn. Brynn tries to deny it, saying the crown prince of Niell is dead. But Alvine tells them to check the chain around his neck.
Ooh.
Alvine says that they need to take Bowie back to figure out how he was involved in the plot to poison his father. Then Alvine says that they have a written confession from the architect of the plot. Then they throw Walter's head across the floor.
Walter.
They killed him. What
with
Bowie
his spider
said.
web tattoo on his cheek.
Yeah. It takes a second for Ayla to realize who it is. And she is horrified.
I was a little sad.
I was really sad. If
Walter
anyone was going to die, I didn't really want it to be him.
No,
I actually have one person I would have been okay with it. And it's revealed later. Walter was not that person.
No, that was sad. R.I.P. Walter.
Rip. Alvine says that they have an hour to return Bowie and Huntley to her. Or they will have to reclaim them by force. And then she leaves. Brynn walked over to Bowie and grabbed the chain around his neck, which is a silver pendant with the eagle symbol of Niell.
Silver.
Mm-hmm. Ayla could tell Bryn was reeling from this information. Bryn ordered Mason to bring Bowie to his chambers and guard the doors until he says so. Bowie begged Bryn not to send him back to those people because, like, they'll hurt him.
Yeah.
But Bryn snapped. Quote, "My people are about to be killed because of you.
Oh, no.
I can't keep the heir to the Niellan throne here in Dunwald. And you should never have manipulated me into doing so. I can't put the welfare of one Niellan, prince or not, over the lives of my own people. All those things you said to me in the forest, the way you treated me when you discovered who I am, and you were hiding this? Get out of my sight."
Oh,
I know.
it's hard because that's not our Bryn.
It's
He
not
needs
our
a
Bryn.
moment to process.
This is our Bowie, but that is not our Bryn.
Yeah.
Bowie left without a fight with Mason because he was like, I get it. But, you know.
Crying.
Ayla went to Bryn to ask if he was really going to turn Bowie over. Bryn felt conflicted, obviously. He doesn't want to give Bowie over, but he can't justify saving one Niellan, like he had just said, at the expense of his people.
Makes sense.
No one is going to believe Bowie was there of his own accord. He's Niellan. Like,
Yeah.
Niellans hate Dunwayans. Dunwayans. Then Bryn wonders if Bowie was part of this whole plan, which Ayla denies. After all, he didn't know who Bryn was when he first met him in the underground.
Oh, yeah.
He thought he was Slate for the whole time. She begged him not to turn Bowie over to the people who would only do him harm. Bryn felt bad at his reaction and is upset that Bowie didn't feel like he could trust him with the information beforehand. Bryn wanted to speak with him, but knows he's too angry right now. He's just too frustrated, and they wouldn't have a very productive conversation. Yeah. So Ayla offers to go speak to Bowie for him.
Okay.
Chapter 34. Ayla went to Bryn's chambers, which is where Bowie is, which hadn't been occupied since Bryn had fled after killing Nick Saban. That is actually, so I did look that up, and he's like the former Alabama coach for like decades.
That's hilarious.
Like one of the most winningest like college football coaches ever.
I love that. I love it. Keep inserting it.
Everything was dusty. It felt cold and impersonal. Bowie was sat by the window with his knees up against his chest, holding his knees, like fetal upward position, but like not on the ground, you know?
Yeah. I picture it.
Bowie noticed her and said that he needed to speak with Bryn. There was something that he didn't understand. But Ayla, you know, is doing the classic, let's interrupt Bowie before he is able to spill any more important fucking information.
He's got it all.
And she's like, no, you need to answer my questions first.
Oh, okay.
Like, are your questions really all that important? Maybe maybe he'll answer your questions if you just let him speak.
Yeah, before you even have to ask.
Literally. She asked him what his story was. And basically, she asked him what his story was. Basically, she asked him what his story was. Like, how is it possible that Araxa raised him while he was also the future prince?
Yeah.
He explained that he was kidnapped. Marcus was betrayed by Huntley, who had paid Araxa to take Bowie away from the castle. Mm-hmm. She took him to the forest where Araxa put a knife to Bowie's throat. Drink. Drunk. No, I'm joking. It was water.
Drunk on water.
He was ashamed because he wasn't able to defend himself at the time. Araxa realized that Bowie was more alive than dead because it's weird because Bowie never like says that Huntley had paid Araxa to kill Bowie, but I'm assuming that's what it was.
Probably, yeah.
But he never says that. Like I'm assuming because like he was so close to death, he doesn't like to talk about it in that
It'd be like
fashion.
a hard thing to say out loud.
But Araxa obviously did not want to kill Bowie, so she blackmailed Huntley. Huntley had been buying Araxa's silence ever since. But when Bowie ran away and she found out, that was bad. So this is what I'm talking about. So the fact that Araxa blackmailed Huntley kept Bowie alive, which was like the one thing that would take down her whole plan to take over Niellan Dunwyn for her daughter. Right. And then she goes back to the throne with Bowie in hand, not in like any kind of safe like place at all. Right. Takes him back to Huntley and then speaks so disrespectfully in Huntley's face. Like, that's crazy.
That is crazy. Oh my gosh. I didn't think about it. Like, I forgot about Bowie's convoluted story.
Right. So I'm just like, whatever. Anyways.
That's hilarious. R.I.D. Araxa again.
When Bowie had run away and he went to Walter's, he wanted to stay at the inn with Walter. He really liked Walter. R.I.P. Rest in paradise.
So sad.
But when Splinter came along, he was worried he might do something to get Walter killed. So he willingly went with Splinter. He hoped that if he was worth something to Splinter, Splinter might protect Bowie from Huntley or Araxa.
Yeah.
Huntley realized at some point that Splinter had Bowie and came to the house looking for him that day that she put the hit out on Bryn.
Oh, gosh.
All this had been a plot to put Alvine on the throne, a plan that probably formed years and years and years and years ago.
Crazy. I
can't believe Huntley did this to her friend, her supposed friend, to King Saban. Saban.
Right.
I bet you his name is pronounced Saban.
That'd be hilarious.
I know.
I'm so sorry if that's the case.
If that's the case. I really like Saban, though. It sounds so cool. Ayla encourages Bowie to take the throne in Niel, saying he is not his father and Bryn is not his father. They could change all of this, make peace between Niel and Dunwyn.
Yes.
But Bowie says that Bryn is in danger. Alvine will attack no matter what, because in order for Dunwayans to tolerate a Niellan queen on Dunwayan's throne, like for both, there can't be a living claim to the Dunwayan throne.
Yes.
A commotion rang outside, and Ayla looked out to see the Niellan army making their way through Dunwald from Anarchist Underground. Bowie tells her, "That's why I came back to that's why I came back to the castle. I wanted to tell you. They came in through Anarchist Underground. Someone showed them the way."
AKA, is Splinter on your side?
I thought Splinter too for
right.
It's like a good minute.
Yeah, of course.
Chapter 35. Ayla dragged Bowie out of the room to go talk to Bryn, but he was trying hard to resist. Bowie was. He was like pulling away.
Oh.
He was insistent that Bryn would let Alvine hurt him. As they stepped out on like the corner walls of the castle, it was chaos.
Oh gosh.
Bryn was giving orders to shoot towards Anarchist Underground to bring anyone who has fled. To bring anyone who has fled the city into the castle. Bryn saw them and he pulled them into the safety of the guard tower, and Ayla told Bryn and Bowie that they both need to go. They are like the respective kings of Dunwald and Niel. Like if they die, all of this is over. Yeah. But obviously, Bryn was not going anywhere. He didn't want to run from this fight. Ayla told him that he needed to get his people to the sanctuary before it was too late, with a couple of guards that they could spare to like protect them. And like they didn't have a lot of time because, you know, the way out like from the sanctuary is like through water. So like when the tide comes in, like it's not
it's
like
so
you
confusing.
can't go that way.
Yeah. It's like a cliff and like rocky surfaces. I don't know.
Yeah, like tunnels like in the ocean. I'm not 100%.
Yeah. I do have a note about how that whole part was kind of hard to understand.
Yeah. I mean, I can picture it. I can't put it into words.
Yeah.
That's my hard stuff. Bowie, however, suggested that they do the coin trick that Bryn had showed them. So the coin trick, okay, I did not explain this in great detail, and I'm realizing that now, is he basically like had a coin and he made Bowie look somewhere else, and then he like the coin disappeared, and then he like made the coin reappear, and Bryn was like, the trick is you have to make the person you're doing the trick to look somewhere else.
Yes, that's beautiful.
And that was the whole point of that.
Okay, yes, that's important.
And so Bowie was like, we just need to get them to look somewhere else.
Yeah, we just need a distraction.
Yeah, exactly. A couple minutes later, Bowie was being fastened with body armor that was too big for him by Mason, by the way. And Mason was trying to talk him out of this plan because they're like, this is fucking crazy. Like, this is a stupid plan. Please don't do it. Like, a 9-year-old came up with it. It's not very good. But Ayla stood firm.
We don't know the plan, right?
We don't know the plan. But Mason is firmly against it. And I'm on Mason's side.
I am too.
You know? But Ayla stood firm. They needed to have Alvine focus on getting what they wanted and not the people fleeing the sanctuary. Mason, being a loyal soldier, didn't like it. But she's like, I'll do what I'm told. Okay. And now I feel like Mason was kind of having like a little bit of intuition about what's about to happen to her. Oh. Do you know what I'm saying?
No.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. When Bowie was ready, Nicole, you'll know that. When Bowie was ready, Bryn approached him. I write their names so much because I don't want to get confused.
No, I know.
Bryn approached. Okay, when Bowie was ready, Bryn approached him. Ayla could tell that Bowie was scared, but Bryn didn't say anything at all to Bowie. Even though he was scared, he thought his life was going to be, you know. He turned and gave Ayla a nod that's like, we'll see each other after this. We'll get through this and we'll see each other.
This
and
is
then
the end.
He left.
They're ending this.
Yeah. We got to end this now. Mason left after that as well, and it was just Bowie and Ayla in the room. Ayla knelt before Bowie and said, quote, I never understand why you cared so much about King Marcus, but now I do. But Bowie told her, you don't understand anything. Those are both quotes.
And I'm like, okay, there's more?
And Ayla rose, and as she did, the box with the chain and the pendant fell out of her pocket.
Yes.
And Bowie froze when he saw the box. The lid had cracked open, and the pendant had clicked to the floor. Bowie looked back at Ayla with a mix of emotion, recognition, horror, worship even.
I wonder what that looks like.
That was good. Thank you. Cast me. She swooped up the box, extremely confused, and said Bowie's name in question. She was like, Bowie? And all he could say in that moment was, no.
And we still don't get answers.
Now I know why he said no.
Was he scared?
No, I think.
Why did he say?
Can we put a pin in that? Can we remember that? Do you think?
Yeah, I'll write it down.
Okay. Because I have a theory about why he said no. We're gonna come back to this. I'm gonna be like, I have no idea.
I'm writing
why
it
I
down,
thought
so
that.
it's happening.
We're gonna come back to it, and I'm gonna be like, why did I say that?
I actually don't remember.
I don't remember why I said that. Actually,
Okay,
that doesn't make any sense. Chapter 36. Ayla, Bowie, Huntley, and Mason go to meet Alvine and her guards in the courtyard. They're on the other side of the drawbridge, okay? But so on the other side, Alvine and all of her people call a ceasefire, and the drawbridge lowers, okay? Dunwald's army lines up on the walls above them.
I'm picturing the keep in Lord of the Rings.
No, for sure. For extra protection. She hoped this plan would draw enough attention and buy enough time for Brynn to lead all of the civilians of the place where
to
they
get them out,
because they fled to the castle through the sanctuary, and so they can get them out. Because obviously, what we know from any war movie ever is civilians don't hold up well if a city is taken over. Like soldiers are not kind.
You gotta get out.
They have a lot of testosterone, and it's just not good.
Yeah,
it's not good. So they're trying to save their citizens. Ayla, Bowie, and Mason meet Alvine in the middle of the drawbridge. Alvine has a couple of guards flanking her at all times, obviously. I think there's like a lot. I think there's like 6 or 7.
Oh.
Alvine inquires about the whereabouts of the king, but Ayla only shrugged her off and told her that they aren't going to give anything to her without getting anything in return.
Of course.
And she says that if Alvine wants her mother and Bowie, they must leave Dunwyn and never return.
Leave now and never come back.
What's that from again?
It's Smeagol.
Oh, yes.
I'm stuck
There's
on Lord
a lot
of the Rings.
of Lord of Rings. Yeah,
Like,
there's a lot of parallels.
Yeah, weird.
Alvine denies this and says to Bowie, what a shame, so much death. Brynn's father and so many soldiers who are simply following orders. If only there was something somebody could do to stop it. But there isn't. And Bowie steps forward, saying that he can do something.
Oh my gosh.
Alvine turns to Bowie, clearly very surprised. Ayla could tell that something bad was about to happen. Alvine says that Bowie knows. She's like, oh, you know.
Oh, shit.
And Bowie tells her that she could actually do it right this time. And we don't know what's going on, but this is an important conversation.
Yeah.
Ayla could tell that she was losing control of the situation, and she didn't know what was going on, and she didn't like any of it. She twitched her hand as a signal to her archers, and then she yelled for Bowie to get back inside. The Niellan soldiers reached for Bowie at this point, and Mason abandoned Huntley also to grab for Bowie because she saw the Niellan soldiers go for Bowie.
Yes.
And Bowie had stepped out in front of everyone, so he's not as close as he was before to hit to Ayla and Mason and all of them. But Mason was stabbed by someone. I don't know. Okay. Ayla yelled for Mason to get Bowie inside while she's bleeding out, and it's bad. This is not like Brynn. My assumption, because the way that they're talking about it, is this is not like Brynn getting blasted by a piece.
Shrapnel, and then walking like several miles before.
Yeah, this is like she is not in a good way.
Oh,
Like,
no, okay.
Not in a good way. I was like, she's gonna die.
Oh, no.
I thought. Mason grabbed for Bowie and tried to slow the bleeding with her other hand. So she has Mason, like Bowie in one hand on her side and the other hand. Ayla engaged in combat with the Niellan soldiers. I think there was like 6 of them on her. But she's the goddamn Reaper of Dunwyn,
That's
okay?
right.
Yeah. She noticed, though, at some point that the fight started to slow, and she saw 2 of the soldiers slip away to pursue Bowie and Mason. Mason did her best, but honestly, she's like half dead at this point, and the soldiers subdue her really, really easily. Ayla is still engaged in a sword fight with 4 soldiers, and they're starting to tire, but like she's not at any point where the fight's going to stop in the next couple minutes.
Oh my gosh.
She took one out, but shortly after she took the one out, Bowie was hit over the head with the butt of a Niellan sword, right?
Yeah.
And to knock him out.
I thought Bowie had died at one of these. I had to read it like 5 times. I'm like, did Bowie just die?
I know. It was a lot. And then that same soldier scoops Bowie up, and the other kicks Mason again, and she rolls off the bridge. So she's, but like not to her death. She's hanging on.
Of course. Yeah.
Mason wants to live, dude.
Hell yeah.
She is not dying today.
She wants to see the outcome of this.
But she was okay, and she was hanging on, yelling for Ayla. In all of this chaos, Huntley and her evil daughter were reunited. Because Huntley just like runs over to...
Yeah. Mom.
Yeah. Alvin. Ayla at this point had a choice to make. Save Mason, her half-dead older sister figure, or the future king of Niel, who is literally 9 years old. She chose Mason. She did try to go after Bowie after she pulls Mason back over, and she's like, get inside. And she's like, okay, it's now time to go after Bowie, but
it's now time to go after Bowie.
After the future king of Niel, the 9-year-old.
Oh gosh.
And she goes to try and like reach him, but the soldier that's carrying him slips into the sea of Niellan soldiers on the other end of the bridge, so it's too late for that.
Oh gosh.
And then Alvin flashes Ayla a bitchy little smile, and then she also disappears into the sea of Niellan fighters. So they're both out of reach.
They gone.
So Mason and Ayla stagger into the main hall. How Mason is still alive, I don't know. I wrote that down. Ayla is worried because Mason has lost a ton of blood, and Mason just pulls out the knife and sits.
Oh.
With a pulse.
Oh, okay.
She's alive.
She's not bleeding out.
Nope.
Okay.
She just pulls it out, and that's probably not the right thing.
That doesn't sound like the right thing from what I've learned. Doesn't sound like the right thing from any medical thing I've ever watched. Sounds of fighting are heard outside the door. The Niellans were breaking through the portcullis and like fighting and shit, right? Yeah.
Bryn shows up right in the nick of time to do absolutely nothing. And these notes are kind of funny, actually.
That is funny.
This scene kills me because it was not a good plan. He notices immediately that Bowie is not with them, and he is not happy. Mason gathers the tiniest bit of her strength that she has left to stand up, or no, get down on her knee, I think, and like apologize for not protecting Bowie to Bryn. And it's really sad, but she's also like, I'm sorry. And she's like dead, almost dead.
Jeez, oh Pete's.
And he looks like he's going to be sick, but not because Mason's about to die, but because Bowie's not there. He gets angry and storms out of the room. Ayla can't believe that she used a 9-year-old's plan and that she thought it would work. She's the fucking commander.
Why did I believe that would work?
What? I should listen to Mason. And Mason had the foreboding because she knew she was about to get stabbed.
Okay. It all makes sense now.
Well, yeah. She's the commander of an army, and she thought this was all a good idea.
That's hilarious.
She shoves her hands in her pocket, and she accidentally grabs the box that Amori had got given her from her father with the pendant inside. In her fury and anguish from what just happened, she throws the box across the room, and it smashes, and a letter comes floating out.
Finally.
And she picks it up and she reads it, and it says, this is long, but it's important, so.
That's good.
My daughter Ayla, I named you Rin, the Niellan word for survivor. Survivor. Because that is what you are. The survivor who will secure the future of our country and our bloodline. The survivor who will protect and preside over Niel, as our family has for 200 years. My health is deteriorating. With each passing day, I feel myself becoming old and ill. And I've written this to you because I fear for my own life, the way I've always feared for yours. You are my only heir.
Oh, no.
From the day you were born, I knew you would be under constant threat from our enemies. The only way to keep you safe was to convince the world that you were dead, to send you away from Mater, so you could grow up in peace. To this day, I have lingering doubts about my decision. When your escorts took you across the border to Dunwin, I lost contact with them. You never arrived at your final destination. Some years after your disappearance, your mother passed while giving birth to a son. He would have been your younger brother, but he was stillborn.
Oh, no.
I took in another infant to pose as him.
AKA Bowie.
Bowie. And he wears an insignia identical to this one.
Oh, my gosh.
But in silver. I hope that the focus of our enemies will remain on him. Those who are in my confidence say you are lost, but my faith is stronger than my fear. My agents have searched for you for years, and their search will continue ceaselessly until you are found. I have to believe that when you receive this message, you will return home. For your true name is not Ayla Rin. It is Ayla of Niell, our princess, our future queen. I have never stopped loving you. Your father, King Marcus of Niell.
Oh.
He doesn't have a last name, apparently. His last name is
Did he
of
sign
Niell.
King Marcus of Niell?
That's a direct quote.
Oh my gosh, what a lot going on. I
What a
also
lot.
love that Marcus is like, my health is failing. And so Ayla was sent away as a baby.
It sounds like it, yeah.
And that was
For her
20
protection.
years ago. So he's been kicking it for 20 more years after his health started failing. Good for him.
No,
Except
I
for
feel
all the
like
cooking.
because this was written after he took the boy in. So this was years later.
Okay, that makes sense.
I'm assuming this is he wrote this when because they explained
It's not
when
important.
they explained when the letter came to Hiver. So that is later.
Okay,
So
okay.
So this was written
Cool,
later.
cool. All right.
Yeah.
Oh, so Ayla is the rightful queen.
Ayla is the future queen of Niell.
Oh my gosh.
Holy shit.
Did not see that coming.
I didn't either. I was so shocked. And so the no that I was talking about when he looked at her and he said no.
Oh no, yeah.
I feel as though, one, he was nervous about her being part of this plan that would endanger her life that they
Okay.
were about to embark on because she could have been in danger during that plan.
Oh.
Two, she's going to be in danger this entire time. And he now knows that she's the queen and his whole job is to protect her.
Yeah.
So maybe
So
that's
he's
when
like-
he decided that he was going to get taken because he's like, whatever I do, I can't let her get taken.
Right. Okay, that makes sense. So he said no because he's like, that puts a wrench in all my plans.
Maybe not all of his plans, but just like maybe realizing like how much she's been in danger over the last 3 weeks
yeah.
and how she could have died over and over and over. And his whole job, his whole life has been to protect her. And he didn't
whole
know that
life.
she was the one that he was protecting.
Yeah.
And she could have died multiple times. She had to drink Grey Dream because of him.
Oh my God, yeah.
They've almost fell into a pit of spikes because of him. They almost died in a fighting pit.
Oh yeah.
All of those things, not because of him, but he was supposed to protect her.
And then they went through all this
And
stuff
she could have,
together.
yeah,
It's
and
like,
she
oh my
could have
gosh.
died so many times. So I feel like that was his no, just realizing everything. Like she's the one he had been born to protect,
Oh my gosh.
or he had been raised to protect. I guess.
Chills.
Ugh. The Reaper of motherfucking Dunwin is the future queen of Niell. Sorry, that was another.
Yes. Hype.
She had literally never thought this was a possibility. She was shook to her core. And Bowie was a decoy, and he knew who she really was.
Dang.
He knew what would happen when they faced Alvine on the drawbridge. King Marcus had raised Bowie to deflect danger from Ayla.
It's so sad.
I know. And this is where she thinks too. She's like, oh my God, yeah, if Marcus had a son or a daughter, it would be half Dunway and half Niellan. It would look just like me, like a Borderlander.
Yes.
So she's like, oh my God.
Oh my God, that fits.
This all checks out. Why did I ever think Bowie was the son? I'm an idiot.
Yeah, that's funny.
Alvine and Huntley, it seems, also knows that Bowie is a decoy because like all of the conversations that they'd had, like, oh, you know, you can do it right this time.
You
Kill
know
the real
who the rightful heir
heir
is.
Yeah. And they also seem to know that he knows who the rightful heir is because he's like, I know who it is. That conversation they just had on the drawbridge, right? They will torture Bowie to get that information from him. But Bowie was raised for that sort of thing, and he wouldn't give in, even if it meant the worst kinds of torture.
Oh my God.
Ayla grabbed the golden pendant right as Chase walked up. He said the courtyard is overrun by Niellan soldiers, and they had to move now. More than half of their people were still out there, but if they wanted a chance to get out and fight another day, they had to go. Ayla had Ayla had the impulse to fight right now, and she like about went out there, but Chase is like, you need to stop.
Yeah, just for a minute.
Because if she goes out there, she knows that she'll die.
Right.
She'll die. And she's like, there's more to this. So she turns and she goes with Chase down to the sanctuary.
Right.
And that's all mine.
Thank goodness.
Oh, I thought I did a good job.
You did a wonderful job. It was amazing. It was so good. I'm like trying to follow along. You're like going so fast. I'm like, okay.
Oh, sorry.
Mason. It was just like Mason, Landon, and Chase. They're like, they were in the beginning and now they're just like reappeared. And it's like, what is their role?
Super
like,
important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like who
Mason
I can't pick.
almost
I
dies.
have a hard time picturing them and what their roles are and what their motivations are because have just been absent for so long. But
Sure, I do have like a specific attachment to them though. I don't know why.
Aw,
I really like them.
Aww.
So I don't know. I'm gonna feel attached.
You did a good job. Chapter 37. Ayla is walking the treacherous path across sea rocks toward the forest with the rest of the soldiers as Bryn ordered. Ayla sees Bryn sitting by himself a little higher up on a rock and she climbs up to sit with him. She wants to explain everything, but he looks like a man drowning. Will he be able to get past the discovery that their blood makes them enemies? She's scared to tell him the truth, scared of what will happen once he knows. She doesn't say anything about that. She just makes a comment about his secret safe passage, and he talks about when he met Bowie for the first time and how Bowie untied him. Bowie told him he wouldn't leave if Bryn left, and Bryn figured he'd stay and help Bowie. Now that he's a murderer and all, he can do right by someone at least.
Yeah.
So he didn't want to leave Bowie behind at Splinters immediately. It's clear Bryn thinks Bowie is dead by now, but Ayla says they can save him. She tells him he's not really the prince, and she thinks Bowie is playing Elvine, buying time. He's so strategic. It makes sense. They realize that this was always Bowie's plan. If Bowie is alive, Bryn doesn't want to believe he abandoned him like Marcus did. Chase interrupts them at this moment with, you need to see this. They follow him into the forest and into a clearing where a group of unbranded mercenaries are mingling about, led by Splinter. And he says he's here at Bryn's command. Or actually, he's here because the Prince of Niell, aka Bowie, told him he'd be compensated if he assembled the anarchists to fight if the Niellan army occupied the city. So here he is. Bryn said, quote, so I'm to believe you didn't let the Niellans in through underground? And Splinter said, this is my city too. But he won't fight until he has proof that Bowie is alive because those were the terms they had agreed on. And this is when they were talking in the prison cells.
Yeah,
right?
in a hushed tones. Yes, absolutely.
Bryn thinks Bowie will try to escape, but he won't succeed without help. So the plan is for Bryn to go into the castle to get Bowie's ass out of there. Ayla's like, that's insane. You'll be killed. You're too important. He tells Chase if he's not back by dawn tomorrow to move everyone to safety. Ayla thinks to herself that she wasn't just the Reaper of Dunwyn. She's the God's damned Queen of Niell. She never turned her back on a fight before, and the fight's not over. And then she tells Bryn, if you're going, so am I. Chapter 38.
I love that.
It was good. Niellan soldiers had reached the rocks where they were at, so they had to swim back to the castle. I guess. I don't know.
This is so good. I'm sorry. I love it.
That's the part where I was like, it's hard to paint a picture of all of this. I don't know. Just go with it.
Yeah. I mean, like, what
Just
about
go
the
with it.
tides? What about like the, what is it called when they take you out? Is that tide?
The rip current?
Rip currents.
Riptide?
Yeah. They're rip tides.
Gotta be careful of those.
But he knows more than one way because he used to sneak out of the castle.
Yeah.
Did you write that already?
I don't know.
Oh, sorry.
Maybe. Yeah.
You did, like, the next line, is it? Please don't say that.
Bryn leads them to a small alcove where they can climb up a rocky cliff face, I think, to a window that leads to the storerooms for the kitchens, and that's how they get in. He used to do it all the time as a kid.
Shit.
But it's like, they talk about it forever and ever, and that's how I summarized it.
Yeah, no, that's good. That was really good.
Okay. She's like, okay, but how do we get back out? And he's like, and he said once she's commanding his armies, they're going to look back at this and laugh because he doesn't know how they're going to get out.
How do we get out? When we look back,
it's
going to be so funny. But no, yeah,
But
sure,
how do we
Bryn,
get
but how
out?
the fuck do we get out?
She feels guilty and thinks that she is going to leave Dunwyn for good after this. So she's like already accepted her throne. That's so crazy.
Well, to be fair, she'd kind of be a hypocrite if she has it, if she didn't. Because,
Yeah.
like, Bryn spent his whole life denying the throne. And then, like, the second that, like, now she's, like, she's been pushing him this whole time.
Yeah.
Like, this is your birthright. Like, this is whatever. And there's no other choice for Niall.
Yeah.
And like she'd be kind of a hypocrite if she didn't. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. It's just a crazy situation.
And she's not one to shy away from duty. She's always been someone for honor and duty. She's a commander. She's a fighter. She's someone who's been in the war. So this is like her blood. Like this is something that's instilled in her.
I love how fast it changes for her though. It's not like, it's not a choice. It's not a decision. She's like, this is just it. And it's a bummer that I had to kill all those Niellans a long time ago.
That's the part that's crazy. But my thought is I'm assuming that the way that she approaches things, because she's always approaching things that are life and death, you have to approach it with this is what I'm going to fucking do attitude. You can't let fear overrun it. That's what I'm assuming she's doing because she's like, I don't have another choice.
Yeah.
I either accept this or I let fear run my mind. If I let fear run my mind, I'm not going to do the job that I need to do.
Yeah, she's amazing.
And that's just how I'm assuming she approaches things.
It makes sense.
That's how she has to fight. That's how she has to
be the commander of an army.
That's probably how she had to be when she went one-on-one with a Niellan soldier to win the war for Dunwyn.
That's so crazy. She's so cool.
It is really cool. That's an assumption though, so I don't know if that's how she approaches things, but that's just my assumption.
We could say yeah. Bryn again starts talking about how guilty he is about Bowie, and Ayla has to remind him they'll find him. He'll be fine, and he'll forgive you. He adores you. Once inside, they contemplate where Bowie might be. And I'm like, probably should have thought about that a lot sooner, but it's okay. They're like inside the building. Okay, now what?
Hey, where's Bowie?
I don't know. I have no idea. The cells, they crack the door open into the hallway and immediately hear soldiers saying, the guard was unconscious. He picked the damn lock. Search the castle. They were speaking in Niellan, so Ayla had to translate. Bowie escaped.
Bowie!
They searched for over an hour, and slowly, because they have to keep hiding. They're like, where could he be? He can't be outside. He's got to be inside somewhere. They have to go upstairs to look, but a door above them slams, so they go back down to the first floor. I don't know, it's confusing. And into a long hallway, and Bryn looks like he's about to run down the hallway, but then instead he turns and knocks his shoulder into the wall near the door, and some of it crumbles away, revealing a hidden door that opens inwards. It was King Sabin's bedroom. They had just like...
So I was confused about that.
It was like a hidden door. Yeah.
Okay. It's King Sabin's room?
I think that might have happened like
after, like they walled it up?
Yeah. That's what I'm thinking. It was awkward as hell for both of them to be in there. The bed is still stained in blood. Bowie bursts out from behind the curtains and tries to attack Bryn with a knife, but Bryn catches him by the wrist. Bowie is haggard looking. He's bruised and bloody and cut up and ragged, with tear streaks on his cheeks. He wrenched himself free of Bryn like he didn't recognize him. And Bryn is like, Bowie, it's me. It's okay. You don't need to knife anyone. And for the first time since Ayla had known him, Bowie is unable to control his emotions, and he starts sobbing. And he bursts out, I'm sorry, in Niellan. Bryn pulls him into a hug, and Bowie buries his face in Bryn's shirt. Ayla tells him they know he's not the Niellan heir, and that it's okay, and that he's not in trouble. Ayla says she knows everything. Do Alvin and Huntley? Hoping that he would catch her drift.
Yeah.
But Bowie didn't tell them, and he's scared they're going to hurt him for it. But Ayla says, we need to stop them. Will you help us? And he's like, yeah.
We need to finish this.
We need to fight again. Are you willing? You're allowed to fight now. Do you want to?
It's time to finish this.
Yeah, it's time to finish this. Chapter 39. They're still in King Sabin's bedroom, and Bowie says they need to kill Huntley and Alvin. Bryn says, I'm sure Splinter will be happy to oblige. They tell Bowie it was smart to make that bargain with him. And then Bowie says, well, it wasn't my money, and I hope the real heir won't punish me. Wink, wink, wink. And Ayla doesn't say anything. She doesn't even give him a look saying, of course you're not going to be in trouble. And
well, she did just say that it was a smart move.
Yeah, it was just funny.
Yeah.
He's like, oh my gosh, I hope
like,
me giving up a bunch of Niellan's money. Yeah.
She's like,
won't get me in trouble.
We'll see about that. Yeah. Sure about that?
Are you sure about that? But she only says, we need to get out of here.
Bowie's like, oh. Bowie's like, not
shit.
Again.
It's just never ending.
Oh my God.
Bryn implies he has a plan and says, finally, I get to take you to my bedroom. Bryn won't let Bowie fight, and they argue about it, but they whip the door open. Okay, it's crazy. They whip the door open. Bowie runs to the staircase to Bryn's room, and Bryn and Ayla are left to fight 8 Niellan misguided soldiers that were just like walking by. They both use non-lethal combat and incapacitate the soldiers, and Bryn notices. He's like, you didn't kill them. And she's like, nope. What now?
And he doesn't question that.
No. They get to his room.
He's like, she's changing. for me.
Yeah,
And
she's
he's
becoming
like,
like
I'm the
me.
queen of Niell.
I
There's
can't
two
kill him,
completely different things
so
going
much
on.
going on. They get to his room. They tie a rope that was under his bed to the bed, throw it out the window, scale down it. Easy peasy. I'd be alive at this point for sure still. I would not have fallen down.
You would be alive. Me?
No, I'm just kidding. It was
It's a big
joke.
fat question mark. Yeah,
I can't scale down a rope.
Yeah, could you imagine us scaling down a rope?
No, he's
off
like,
of a side of a building?
whip this around your waist, put it over your shoulder, underneath your legs, and then just like let go of the rope. And
I would have been
did it.
far before this though. Like far before this. Wouldn't have made it anywhere near this. Climbing up the thing, I can name 100 times.
A castle.
I would have been dead.
100 times.
I would have been dead throughout this. Are you joking?
Oh my god, no, it's just funny. That was just it sounded really hard. Onto the rocks, onto the sea wall or whatever.
Yeah. The wet seawall.
And then Bryn says, "We got a war to win." Chapter 40. They make it back to Splinter's camp. Bryn shows Bowie to Splinter and then leads him away. He's like, "Here, he's alive." Ayla and Splinter chat, and she's trying to see if he's really with them, because if he's not and he hurts Bryn, she'll make him regret it. He makes a joke about her being a soldier or maybe wanting to protect Bryn for a different reason. And she turns to stalk off, but he grabs her wrist and promises to keep his word as long as Bryn does. Quote, a herald was sent ahead. Okay, this is just like the next
part. Yeah.
Because
yeah.
So a herald was sent ahead to the city. Ayla rode alongside Bryn as they left the forest in the gray morning light. Splinter, Dagny, Mason, Chase, and Landon following. A makeshift army of Dunwyn soldiers and anarchists at their backs. That's where we're at. Ayla hadn't really had a chance to talk to Bryn. She asks where Bowie is, and he said he left him behind in the forest with Splinter's men. He'll be safe there, and he won't be fighting. The city loomed large across the field. Bryn asked Ayla if she's okay, and he said this is your first real battle since, if you're not ready, you can stay back. But she's not staying back. And I didn't really understand that. She's like, what is he talking about? Like her PTSD?
Yeah, sure, which is crazy to me because
he's been fighting alongside of you for weeks.
I actually have a quick correction from last week. This is just reminding me. So we thought the war was only 8 months. It was 4 years.
Oh.
So Ayla commanded one of the battles within the war, but the war lasted 4 years.
So she commanded the battle that ultimately ended the war.
Okay. Yes. But yeah, I do think it's tied. I do think it's tied to her PTSD.
Okay. But I don't know. It's just like.
It's just, he loves her. So he's just worried,
Okay,
because she does tend to lose herself when she starts to fight.
Yeah. I thought maybe I was just missing something, but.
No, I think that's right.
A flood of Niellan soldiers spill onto the field toward them, Alvine and Huntley at the head. She stares at Alvine. She's like, holy shit, that's my half sister. Bryn calls out to them. Alvine and Huntley Bartamy, you are occupying my country. You have killed my people. You paid an anarchist to murder my father. Now you will relinquish control of Dunwyn and step down from the seat of power in Niell, or you will fall to the might of the very people you sought to form an allegiance with. The anarchists fight with me now. But Alvine is not worried about the anarchists. They're basically dust in the wind. They're not loyal. They don't matter. They're not even real people. It's all good.
Yeah, they'll switch sides.
At a drop. Of a dime.
Literally. You offer one extra penny and they're on your side.
Yeah.
They're like hired swords in fucking Westeros. Like you pay them more money, they're now on your side.
Yes. Ayla knows that too. And she's facing her own people, like on both sides. She turns to Bryn and asks, do you trust me? And he says, with my life. Then Ayla rides up to Alvine and challenges her to a 1v1. Loser loses their kingdom.
And dies.
And also dies.
More than likely dies.
And then your kingdom's gone.
Yeah.
Alvine is surprised, but says, fine. You are your king's champion, so my mother will be mine. So she's going to be fighting Huntley again.
And when Ayla suggests this to Alvine, she looks like Huntley and Alvine looks at each other, and like Huntley gives Alvine like a knowing smile, knowing that she has beaten Ayla before.
Like, we got this in the bag.
And I'm thinking to myself, that was a long fight. It was really close. Ayla was 16.
16.
So she should theoretically be a better fighter at this point.
And, for sure.
And Huntley's only gotten older, which means that there's no way she's
as she was.
Strong.
Right.
Yeah.
That's funny. But yeah.
But
she's got confidence. Chapter 41. Ayla is in the forest getting ready for her fight. Her friends are pissed. Someone says Huntley is a good fighter, and Ayla scoffs. She's like, so am I. Then she tells Mason, Chase, and Landon to get everyone out of the city as far away from here as possible. And Chase says, quote, with all due respect, fuck you. We're staying here. They argue back and forth when Bryn says, stop. Ayla is the commander. If this is her plan, we follow it. And so her three friends leave. Alone now, Bryn helps Ayla get ready for the fight that he believes she'll win, and he trusts her with the fate of his country. She apologizes to him in this moment for believing that he killed his father, even after getting to know him. He's like, but I did. But then he tells her that seeing Ayla unafraid to step up as a leader after King Sabin's death made him want to be that too, which is good, which is amazing. But the closer Bryn gets to the Dunwyn throne, the further he and Ayla would drift apart. Even if she survives the fight with Huntley, she sees this as a goodbye. He asks for one more favor. Kiss me again. Oh. She says she can't with her hiding her queenship. Oh, she like in her head, she's like, I can't because like I haven't told him about that I'm the queen. But 1 second later, she does kiss him. But she also breaks it off to tell him, quote, I know what you did, Bryn, and I want you to know it's all right. I don't want some fantasy version of you. I didn't fall for a perfect man. I fell for a very good man who does his best for the people he cares about. No matter what anyone thinks, that's enough for me. It should be enough for you too. Okay, this is Bryn now. Ayla. Bryn leans in and their foreheads pressed together. Ayla shivered as he spoke, his lips brushing hers. I don't know if I'm a good man or not, but I will be. I will do everything I can to be the man you see when you look at me. The man you believe in. I will be worthy of you, Ayla. I swear it. The way I feel about you, I've never felt this for anyone. I only want to feel this way for you. Oh. Cue steamy sex scene. He kisses her in a way that she will remember for the rest of her life. I love that. She had guided his hand downward, and he's working her sensitive area. And then he slows down, and she's frustrated about it. And he says, you're going to have to stay quiet unless you want an audience. Cover your mouth.
Oh, yeah, because she's like
moaning and
like loud. She's like unapologetically loud. She's like, I'm about to die. I'm going to moan my ass off.
Yeah, and then
so rub my clit and shut the fuck up.
And then he stops, and she's like, what the fuck? It's like, you're going to have to stop. Yeah. She does cover her mouth. Then he pulls her pants off and says, I want you on my cock. She sucks him for a little bit, and they have sex. It was passionate. It felt desperate and a little sad because, quote, some distant part of her that wasn't consumed by the heady bliss of Bryn's touch quietly urged her to preserve this memory. It was all she'd have. Oh, so it was like really good.
It was a hot sex scene.
Yeah, but then it was also like undertoned with sadness. Yeah.
All I'm thinking, though, to be so honest, and this is so bad, is this is so great because she deserves to have one last lay before she potentially dies.
Yeah.
But like, how long do they have to prepare for this battle? This like last battle. I thought maybe this is like a 5 to 10 minute affair, and then they need to get back on. Like, do they have like an hour?
It might have been like meet back here in 2 hours.
Okay.
For the 1v1.
That's fair. Yeah. Case. It's right now 4 p.m. Meet back here at 7 on the dot p.m.
Yeah.
And we'll have the battle.
So go say your goodbyes.
And that's great. Yeah. Get your affairs in order. Yeah. Okay. That makes more sense. Yeah. Have your last little lay, and we'll get it popping. Yeah. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Vibe too. I really thought it was like, all right, get your shit on and back out here ASAP.
But instead, they're like alone. They have a moment of aloneness.
A moment, and just like 30-minute fuck sesh. It was like good. I can just picture just like Huntley just on the battlefield, like
waiting.
What are we doing?
Looking at her watch.
Does she forfeit
the sundial?
Yeah. Looking where the sun is in the sky. Dude, it's like half past middle of the sky.
They're not here.
They're not here.
Afterward, Ayla is walking alone in the forest and runs into Bowie. He knows that she knows that she's the rightful queen, and he bows to her. And she's like, stop, we're friends. Bowie thought she'd be angry with him because he knew and didn't say anything, but she's not angry. She confirms that she's going to fight. Alvine is not fit to rule, and if Nielle is her kingdom and queendom, and she'll be the one to defend it. Oh, sorry. I said that bad, but we're moving on. Bowie says he's sorry about Ayla and Bryn. How will they be together now? And she doesn't address this, but asks, what about you? What will you do? As far as I'm concerned, you can do whatever you want. I'm indebted to you. Bowie insists he will obey King Marcus and whatever King Marcus wants. And she asks, well, okay, if you could do anything you want, what would you do? And he says, quote, at Hiver, His Highness said that maybe I could go with him to Dunwyn, but I don't know if he still wants that. A lot's happened.
Oh,
Ayla just says,
Bowie.
I think he'd love that. And then hope flickers in Bowie's eyes. He's like, do you think maybe? Then he tells Ayla that she doesn't think she'll beat Huntley, but she will for Niall. So he's like, I know that you believe that you won't beat her, but you will.
For Niall.
For Niall. Chapter 42. The Niellan army is gathered to watch the fight. Ayla is having doubts she can actually do this. Bryn reassures her that she'll win. She thinks he's lying. She's like, he's lying for me, and we both know it. Huntley makes a speech about how Ayla was overconfident when they fought when she was 18. But then Ayla says, I was 16 and I'm better than you now. They start to fight and Huntley breaks Ayla's arm really early on and she drops her sword. Huntley advances on her and they have more banter and Ayla flying leaps at her and punches her, and I assume with her non-broken arm because that would be insane.
Yeah.
And Ayla is able to hold her own pretty impressively for a broken-armed girly. But Huntley still has fight in her and she gets up after being knocked down, talking mad shit, when a crossbow bolt flies over Ayla's shoulder and right into Huntley's chest.
From the Dunwayne area.
Yes. Yeah. From the Dunwayne area. Ayla is shocked. Huntley looks betrayed and says, Hail Queen Alvine of Niell, and collapses. Ayla turns in time to see Splinter slash Dagny right across the throat. Dagny had fired the crossbow. The Niellans scream, treachery, and they start to advance. She can see Alvine with a satisfied smile on her face. Ayla runs towards the anarchists and Bryn and Splinter, and Ayla puts it together that Dagny was an Alvine man.
Oh, he was the one that showed him through the... Yeah.
Splinter didn't know, and Ayla believed him, which means, though, Alvine had her own mother killed. Alvine charges over there like a toddler whose sister cheated at hide and seek and said, you broke the oath of the 1v1. Niall won't stand for this. Then severed heads rain down on them, and they are anarchist heads. Which means, and then
ones that Bowie, it was ones
Bowie's
that were protecting Bowie because they had Bowie stay back with a couple of anarchist men.
And Bryn was like, oh my gosh, Bowie's men. Then an anarchist comes riding out of the forest with Bowie and he tosses him on the ground in front of Alvine. He's got a bloody nose and his hands are tied in front of him. I'm ready at this point to kill everyone who's ever hurt Bowie.
Same.
I'm tired of it.
I actually, sorry, honey, are you okay? Sorry, she seems hot. When I was rewriting the notes, especially for the parts that are coming up, I was crying for Bowie. Literally crying.
Me too. Like every time they describe him, he's got tear tracks. He's like very dejected. He's on the verge of tears the whole time. You can really like feel.
He's a literal 9-year-old. And like the amount of, no, I'll start crying. I will start crying. So I can't even do it. But Dagny was the one that showed the Niellan army through the Anarchist Underground too, which is crazy.
Yeah. Fuck him.
Fuck him. And I thought he was the most loyal to Splinter.
Me too. It seemed like that, though.
It did.
Like his right-hand man.
But to be fair, though, like maybe that's what he was playing at.
Yeah.
Stay close to, your enemy. So that, I mean, it makes a lot of sense, but it's hilarious. That I was like,
it is funny.
Oh, he's never going to betray.
Which is like a funny thing to even think because he's like such a side character.
Right.
Kind of. Bowie guesses correctly that Alvine is the actual mastermind behind all this. It was her idea to give Marcus Grey Dream. Alvine threatens Bowie's life to get Bryn to step forward. And it works. Bryn surrenders with a plea to not hurt Bowie. Alvine is like, I get it. Bowie's the only one who knows who Niall's heir is. And Splinter is like, excuse me? I thought it's not Bowie.
Yeah.
This is the moment that, it doesn't matter. But Alvine offers double if Splinter defects. He's like, I'll pay you double whatever they're paying you. Come up, like, fight for me right now.
I think this is a good point.
What?
That you said this doesn't matter, but I think this is good to show that like.
There was a typo. It said Araxa instead of Alvine.
Oh yeah,
and that was when that happened.
Okay,
that was the only thing that I noticed though.
Yeah,
but that's what didn't matter. But so Alvine offers double if Splinter comes to her. Ayla tries to reassure him the promise is still on, but Splinter signals for his men to move out and they all retreat into the forest. The magnitude of what's happening hits Ayla. Bryn had surrendered Niell's custody. Ayla faces Alvine alone because she's still fighting. She's still going to fight.
Yeah.
Regardless of what everyone else is doing. Alvine notices Ayla not leaving and scoffs. Bowie elbows Alvin in the stomach, and then she slaps him. Niellans grab Bryn and Ayla as Bryn shouts, "Stop!" because like they're beating up Bowie. Alvin notices how much Bryn cares about Bowie and threatens to slash his throat with a knife to his throat. Drink. But they don't. Bowie is panicking.
Feels bad to drink for that.
Bowie is panicking and fighting, and Alvin tells him he can make it stop. Just tell me who the heir is. And Bowie says, "Bryn?" Like looking for guidance. Like, what do I do? And Alvin is impatient and orders the soldier holding Bryn to kill him. Bowie yells and fights harder, and Alvin says, "Okay, then just tell me." Ayla steps in and insults Alvin's intelligence by saying, quote, "If you were a little smarter, you might have figured out the truth for yourself rather than having to coerce it out of a 9-year-old. Alvin tries to offer a position in her army. She's like, "You can fight with me. You don't have to die here."
Yeah.
And Ayla says, "I don't intend to command Dunwin's army. I intend to sit on Niel's throne. And I don't have to prove anything to the likes of you."
Chills.
I know.
Chills.
She's like, Alvin's like, "Prove it." And Ayla was like, "I don't have to."
I don't have to prove it to you. Yeah, what if she was lying? What a bluff.
Right. Yeah.
That's some like, what's that show? Oh my God. I was just watching it. The lawyer show. Oh my God.
Suits?
Suits. That's some Suits bluffs type shit.
I've not seen that.
Damn, so good. You like it, I think.
Okay. Alvin is still angry. She rips the gold eagle insignia necklace from Ayla's neck and knows it to be true and says, "You." Ayla's like, "Yeah, me. So let Bowie go. Bryn and I can give you whatever you want. No problems." Like, this is ending. This can end.
We're finishing this now.
Alvin smiled and ordered for Bowie to be killed. Bryn had to be subdued by 3 guards. He's fighting so hard to get to Bowie, and he breaks free of them. And he runs to Alvin and holds a sword to her throat.
I'll drink for that.
The soldier holding Bowie throws him away, and he rounds on Bryn. Alvin calls for a ceasefire and provokes Bryn to kill her. And we all know that Bryn has an aversion to killing people after killing his own father under the influence of Grey Dream, and that he doesn't have a killer's heart. We know that. But does Alvin? Because she's like, "Kill me, Prince Bryn. You can do it. You killed your father. Come on, just give it a shove." Yeah, of course she does. I don't know. She's like, "Just give it a shove. Just kill me." He's warring with himself to kill her or not to kill her. And then he stabs the ground instead, like so many scenes from so many movies. Like,
This was a mistake from Bryn. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
Like, I really was
I feel
frustrated.
like he really could have lived with that one kill if he had done it. He could have.
Because of what happens next. I don't know if I can I can forgive him or whatever, but like kind of not.
Alvin just laughs and says, "You're not a killer after all." And then she's impaled from the back of the neck. And then Bowie says, "But I am."
This is why.
Yeah. So I wrote down, holy shit, can you imagine Bryn living with that? He had the chance to kill Alvin, couldn't do it, so Bowie did it for him. And now Bowie has to live with that.
Not a 9-year-old.
Quote, "After fiercely fighting his deadly talents for so long, Bowie finally had the motivation to kill." Bryn says Bowie's name with dismay, and Bowie looks up at him, swaying. His eyes were pleading. He started to shake as he clumsily tried to wipe the blood from his cheeks with his tied hands. He instead smeared thick red stripes of red across his cheeks like paint. He tries to speak, but nothing comes out. Trying again, he says to Bryn, "Please don't hate me. I had to." And then he collapsed.
Oh my God. No, I'm actually starting to tear up.
It is really sad. Like the way his hands are tied, he's trying to smear the blood, like clean his face off.
No,
And then he collapses.
I can't.
It's really sad.
Is that me now? Fuck.
Ayla turns to look out at the Niellan army, and like a wave, 10,000 soldiers drop to their knees before her. Chills.
Oh my God.
Poor Bowie.
Chapter 43. Ayla stood in the dark. She had made eye contact with Bryn, who told her that they needed to talk before he scooped up Bowie and took him into the castle. She then had about 1 billion things to do to get like in order, because she was like figuring out the Niellan army, figuring out the Dunwin army. Like
she's got a lot on her plate.
She's just got a lot on her plate.
At the moment.
Yeah. By the time she finished up everything, Bryn had gone to his chambers. Ayla went to see him, but when she walked into his chambers, Bowie was on the foot of the bed crying violently.
Oh my
and
God.
Bryn was like holding him on his lap, doing his best to comfort him, probably feeling so guilty.
Oh my God.
And she had felt so much guilt for not being able to help Bowie or atone for not telling Brynn the truth about her.
Oh gosh, yeah.
She told title.
Yeah, she just announced it in front of everybody
and didn't
tell him in private.
She should have, because she should have anticipated that that's something that she might have needed to do in front of them.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. She's not on her game.
No.
It feels.
Yeah.
And it honestly kind of feels like from all the time that we've known Ayla, she's very good at battle strategy, but the rest of thinking, it doesn't seem to suit her very good.
I wonder if it's because it's about her now, and before it's about like all the soldiers.
Sure, but that makes me worry about her as a queen because, like...
Well, as a queen, she's ruling over other people. She's not worried about herself anymore.
Yeah, but that does involve yourself. Like, these sorts of... that's a diplomatic decision. Having to tell, the king of Dunwyn that you're the queen of Niell. Like, that's a diplomatic... Yeah. And it's personal, but it's also diplomatic. Like, those are decisions she's going to have to make.
It's so... convoluted. I can't even imagine.
And that could have been a really big mistake.
Yeah.
Like this could have taken a big turn for the worse.
Because like if I was Brynn, I'd be like, why didn't you tell me as soon as you knew? Like,
especially after how he acted with Bowie.
Yeah. I'm like, what does that mean for your feeling? You obviously don't care about me that much.
Yeah. How could you not have trusted me?
Right.
Like the same thing with Bowie, right?
Yeah, same thing. Yeah.
It's anyways. She had left and so she left his chambers and was sat out on the wall where she had used to meet Sabin for a bunch of different stuff. Her, her father, her only apparent father figure. And she felt like a coward because she was about to leave without saying anything to Brynn. Mason approached her then. Yes, she's still alive. I know. I was shocked too. Because where did she receive any ounce of medical attention when they were escaping the sanctuary?
Yeah. Who are their healers? Do we ever talk about that?
And when was she getting healing? When she was being moved out of the you know what I'm saying? Out of the sanctuary.
Yeah, I don't know. You had to swim potentially.
Right. In their moments of saying goodbye, Ayla tells her that Mason will be the new commander of the Dunwyn army.
If she heals good.
Yeah, well, yeah.
She already did.
She's got she's got permanent damage. No, she's fine, I guess. Ayla will be going to Ater to assume her new role as queen. Oh. Mason was sad about her friend leaving, but also, she's like, how am I going to tell the king the love of his life is dipping out without saying anything?
Yeah, don't do that.
One word.
Oh my gosh.
And she tells Mason that she'll see him again, but she also knows that they won't have anything more than a professional diplomatic relationship.
I don't know why she keeps thinking that. You're the literal king and queen. You can change things.
Sure. But if they're going to be in different kingdoms, which I'm assuming are decently far apart, I'm assuming that they don't think they're going to see each other very much. And that would be a very difficult. And their kingdoms hate each other.
Yeah, that's a lot to get over.
Very badly. Yeah. Mason warns her to bring some backup when she goes to Niell because no one knows how she'll be received as the new queen because she's been living in Dunwyn and she's, as I've said, the Reaper of Dunwyn. I wish that we could drink every time one of us, me specifically, as the Reaper of Dunwyn. Although they both know she can't bring any Dunwayans to Niell, Mason wants her to be safe because, quote, no matter whose blood is in your veins, no matter what throne you sit on, you are my friend. You always will be.
Aww.
Chapter 44. Ayla is on her way to Ater with the Niellan army. She's trying her best to make small talk with the commander of her new army.
So wait, time out. So to recap, Ayla announced to everybody that she was queen of Niell.
She figured out everything in Dunwyn, like released prisoners and got her army together.
Oh, yeah. But she didn't talk to Brynn after that.
No, and she left in the middle of the night.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Insane.
All right. That's all I needed to know.
So she's trying her best to make small talk with the commander of the Niellan army. But Commander Gage is who the commander is not really feeling it. She's just it's very awkward. They don't have any rapport. They don't have any relationship. Right. It's just not
there.
I'm
your queen now. I know it's weird. But
this is super weird. I was just taking orders from Alvin, I mean. She wonders how the people of Niell are going to receive her since she is the Reaper of Dunwyn. As they're just outside the city, a man rides up on his horse to Ayla and introduces himself as Philippe.
Sure.
Is that how you say?
I would say Felipe because I
Felipe
like that.
Daubert. Is that that's how you say?
I don't know.
Felipe Daubert. Yeah, Dalbert.
Where is it? Oh,
Right here.
yeah. Or Dalbert.
No.
No, it's probably
Felipe Dalbert.
Ooh, I love that.
Or Felipe Dalbert.
Yeah, or Philip.
We never hear his last name again, so that's will
Doesn't
never
matter.
matter again. He has been King Marcus's primary counsel for 40 years. And he says that he did advise Alvine like against marching to Dunwyn in the first place, but obviously she did not listen. He says that he promises that if Ayla had ever returned to Ater, that he would serve her as well. She asks if he is surprised that she is there. And he was like, hell yeah, this is a miracle. Alvine sucked. And at the point that we were at, we had no other choices to put up on the throne. So we're like, I guess. Her father had sent out agents to find her for a long time. Sorry. Her father had sent out agents to find her for a long time. And Felipe had his doubts about sending Ayla away in the first place, but King Marcus did what he thought he had to keep her safe. Is what, this is all what Felipe is saying.
Yeah.
Ayla was surprised that Felipe knew about Marcus sending her away, but he had also been a part of the plot to convince everyone that she had died at birth. Like he knew everything. He was in King Marcus's like greatest
confidence.
Yeah, he was in his close inner circle.
Yeah, he was the Dagny to the Splinter, but didn't betray him.
Ayla then asked if he knew about Bowie too. And at first, Felipe didn't know who that was. And now I know why he didn't know that was. We'll explain that later.
Because of his name.
Because that's not his like actual full name.
Yeah.
But also, and that he did also say after that it was unfortunate what happened to Bowie, but better him than Ayla. And Ayla was pissed. She made a comment.
You don't know Bowie.
No, and like he should know Bowie, and he's just like not. It's not great how they talk about Bowie. She made a comment about how she does not support the endangerment of a child to achieve political ends.
Okay,
like that's one thing that they need to know about her before they go into this whole situation with her as queen. And she then asks about how the Niellans will feel about her assuming the throne since she has killed Niellans in the war, and the fact that she grew up in Dunwyn.
Yeah,
she's not even
Can we talk on that for a little bit? Like, what do you think is gonna happen here?
And he tells her that, well, you're not Dunwyn. You're not Dunwayan. Like you're Niellan.
Clean slate.
She is her father's blood. Yeah. Yeah.
That's cool.
Well, she's like, yeah. He's like, you may have grown up in Dunwyn, but you are not Dunwayan. You are Niellan. You have your father's blood. Well, technically she's both because her mom was technically Dunwayan, but whatever. You have your father's blood, and the people trust in that. They trust, they trust your father. They'll trust you.
Okay.
As far as the war goes, her single-handed combat win was actually one that saved a lot of lives.
That's true.
On not only the Dunwayan side, but also the Niellan side. So they actually see her as kind of like, they're like upset probably that they didn't win the war, but they're also like,
I'm glad that it's over.
Yeah, like we didn't.
At her hand, yeah.
It could have been thousands of more that died if they just would have gone head to head.
That makes sense.
She was again shocked about this, and for a moment was sad about the country and the man that she was leaving behind. After that, they showed her to the queen's quarters, and she was uneasy as people bowed before her since she was not used to seeing this. Yeah. She gave her orders for the army to Felipe, and he informed her of her meeting with the council tomorrow. Then he left, and she was alone in her chambers. She sent away her servants and ended up sleeping on the floor by the fire, wondering how she was going to adjust to this new life.
Dang, yeah, that's a lot.
Or if she ever would adjust to this new life. Chapter 45. Over the next few weeks, Ayla had made a steady routine for herself. She would wake up early, get some much needed alone time because everyone was all up in her business after like 11. They all thought she slept in like late, just like because like that's what she did. So they didn't bother her till like 10, 11 o'clock.
That's hilarious. And then she would just be up for hours.
Like she'd be up at like 6. Yeah, just like doing her own thing.
That's so funny.
She would then have council meetings that were awkward at first, but became less and less awkward as the weeks went by. There were a few members who had pledged their allegiance to Alvine. More pledging of allegiances. And were hesitant to accept Ayla as their long-lost heir. But after she showed them the pendant and the note from her father, that placated them.
Okay. I wonder why they weren't punished more. Because they were Alvine's men.
Sure. I think here's the thing, right? Like, she did explain this. Well, first, here's the thing. I think they supported Alvine, but I don't remember... I don't know if I think she did say this, but I don't remember if they were appointed by Alvine. Oh. They might have been appointed by Alvine, but also like, what are you going to do? Like,
You're gonna go live in Dunwin now, or
Yeah, like there's
go to the Borderlands. I don't know.
there's so much to this. Like it's just, I think Ayla's just like, I can't start off my reign by just like either killing people or taking people. You know, it's not gonna go well.
Right.
So until they give her a
Get her
reason
feet
not to trust
on the ground,
them, then I think, because we're also, what other options are there? Alvin's dead. Huntley's dead.
Yeah, true. You can't go back to them.
There's no other blood person to put on the throne, and blood is important to them.
Yeah.
So what are they really gonna do?
True.
You know,
like if you kill Ayla, then who? I mean, isn't Marcus still technically the king? I don't understand.
Yeah, but he's like not lucid.
Yeah.
So she's gonna.
She had to. She had
to take over.
It doesn't matter. Okay.
She did seem to be mostly accepted by the people of Niel because the people of Niel loved King Marcus and seemed to trust in her.
Yeah,
now
like,
as
oh my
well.
gosh, this is wonderful that we have a nice heir that's not Alvin.
Yeah, they all like really like her, but I really do feel like it's because they all really like Marcus.
Yeah.
For whatever reason.
Yeah,
They'll never explain like why everyone was like people in Niel love King Marcus.
My thoughts on that was we're just getting two different sides of who he was. Like the Niellans know him as one Marcus, and then we know him as a different Marcus.
Yeah, it is interesting though, because Laz hated Marcus.
I don't know.
And he was Niellan, right?
I think so.
But maybe because wars can make people turn on their king because people die.
Yeah.
So maybe that was...
It was the war thing.
Maybe.
I don't know. I'm not
It is interesting though, right?
Like yeah. It is.
Yeah. She tried not to think of Bowie or anyone from Dunwin because the thoughts always led to thinking about Bryn and how much she missed him. This morning, someone had knocked on her door a little earlier than usual, so she assumed that something was wrong. She's like, oh shit. It was Felipe, and he told her that none other than King Bryn of Dunwin was here and had requested an audience. She's like, how the fuck did he get past our defenses? They're like, he traveled light. He doesn't have a lot of people. We didn't even see him.
He's not attacking us, so we let him in.
Yeah. They didn't even let him. They didn't even know. He just showed up at the door. I'm so
I love
serious.
that for him.
Ayla was shocked, and she had no idea she would be seeing Bryn this soon after leaving Dunwin. After they hadn't spoke, like she wanted to have more time to prepare.
Shoot, she's not ready mentally.
She went to meet him, and it felt so strange as she was like on the dais, looking down at the four figures that had traveled to a tier to see her. She realized when she saw only Chase, Landon, Bowie, and Bryn that they had traveled very discreetly. Not even Bryn's counselors knew that he was there, more than likely.
That's funny.
The sight of Bryn made her heart hurt, and she yearned for him. He looked different, wearing finer clothes meant for a king. And like, he looked tired kind of too.
They've been on the road.
She's like, he looked really tired actually.
Gosh.
His like eyes real brown.
A lot has been happening these past few weeks.
That's true. But she knew she looked different too. She was wearing a very elegant gown and her hair was down, framing her face. She looked sexy. She was like ready to
headband.
fuck. Yeah. Oh my God, son of a bitch. Sorry. She inquired about his trip to Atir only a fortnight after taking the throne. Like, what was the nature of this visit? She had mentioned that he had insufficient guards, and Chase was like, well, that's really rude, Your Highness.
Yeah, what?
He was offended.
I'm that guard.
He's like, insufficient?
Yeah, that was funny. That was really funny.
That's crazy, Your Highness. But Bryn told her that he wanted to have a diplomatic meeting between Niel and Dunwin. And she's like, when? And he's like, now.
He's like, now? Why delay?
Chapter 46. Bryn showed up without notice to Atir, which was not usually the way things were done, to set up a diplomatic meeting. But that was the point. He was being strategic and arriving so suddenly. So like people didn't have time to like prepare or, try and
talk him out of it.
I don't know.
Get worried?
But she's like, that was so smart that he showed up unannounced. He's so strategic. And I was like, okay, great.
Okay.
That it makes more sense to you, then that's fine. They sent out word. They sent word out to the other council members, and they waited in the meeting room. Ayla and Bryn, and I think Bowie, Chase, and maybe Landon. He noticed again while they were sitting there just how handsome. Oh, she noticed again while they were sitting there just how handsome Bryn was. Aww. She wanted to talk to him so bad, but had too much tension and anxiety. But Bowie was in the corner talking to Chase, and so she mentioned that Bowie seemed to like Chase. Bowie had been teaching Chase curse words in Niellan on their way there, according to Bryn. Bryn tells Ayla he had appointed Chase as captain of his personal guard. And right then they had a moment because he said he had appointed Chase because, quote, I figured anyone with the respect of Ayla Wren must be excellent with a blade and loyal to a fault.
He loves her.
He loves her.
He loves her.
But they didn't have a chance to speak for very much longer because 4 men from the council of Niel entered the room, and it was kind of chaotic and a commotion. Bowie recognized a few of them, and as they were all walking in, like Ayla, it's so funny. Ayla, Bowie, and Bryn are having like side conversations about who everyone is.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, can they hear them?
How big is this room?
Yeah. A few of the members seemed to be upset by the late notice of the meeting and the lack of attention to protocol. But when Ayla jumps in and insists they begin, an awkward silence falls on the group. Felipe jumps in. That's it, right? Felipe jumps in quickly with this isn't the whole thing. This isn't a direct quote, but he's like, "Hail, Queen Ayla of Niel. Like, you're the best in the world."
Yeah.
And the others slowly murmur the phrase afterwards, and it was just so awkward. Like, I think everyone just felt really uncomfortable.
To do it?
Maybe
just,
not
like,
reluctant.
awkward?
Like, they're just upset by this, and she's like, "I would like to get this meeting started."
And they're like, "Well, this isn't protocol."
I think I don't know if they're expecting her to not like Dunwald as much as they do or something, or just like they're just not expecting.
Yeah.
This is just different.
Very,
Yeah. Bryn tells the council that they brought a peace offering for Niel, and and hands them the cure for King Marcus.
Oh my gosh.
They are stunned and they're so grateful. They're like, "This is the best gift in the world. Thank you so much." But Bryn tells them that it wasn't Dunwyn who created the cure. It was Bowie. And Bowie's right there, and he's like, "Hi." They don't seem like they care at all that Bowie managed to survive everything that he's been through. They're like, "Oh, Bowie's alive."
A cure for a drug at 9 years old.
Yeah, they don't even they're just like not even all that grateful. They just basically, like, to Bowie specifically, they basically are just like, "Oh yeah, we'll see to it that he's rewarded. Maybe like he can have a position in Ayla's household if that's cool with you, Your Highness."
Yeah.
And Bryn's like, not only is that reward inadequate completely, but I actually had intended for Bowie to stay with me in Dunwyn as part of my family.
Yeah.
And the council's
it's
like,
part of my family.
Yeah. Oh my God, I know. I love them. But the council does not like this and argues against it, as Bowie could be a threat to Niel, 1, because of how much information that he knows.
Yeah.
And 2, he's Marcus's charge. So like he's the king's, I mean, they're kind of talking about him as if he's like property.
Right.
So like they're not, it's not theirs to give away, you know?
Yeah. Okay.
But Ayla steps in and says that her intention is peace with Dunwyn, and a 9-year-old won't threaten that. If anyone has a problem with it, then they can get the fuck out. And she grants Bowie permission / blessing to stay with Bryn in Dunwald.
Aww.
They had a couple hours worth of conversation covering many diplomatic things, which I will not be reiterating because I don't understand diplomacy one bit. And then they showed Bryn to his room, which was just down the hall from Ayla's. Later, King Marcus's physician came to Ayla's chambers to let her know that the antidote for Grey Dream was working and making him more lucid.
Oh my gosh.
At this point, though, he was too far gone, and the antidote would only basically help him like have more clarity in his very limited time left on this planet.
Okay.
It's not going to save his life.
Right.
Because he's been on it for like 4 years.
Yeah.
Ayla went to Marcus's chambers, and surprisingly, Bryn, Bowie, and Landon were there? It was Chase. No, I think it was Bryn, Bowie, and Landon. Bryn, Bowie, and Landon were all waiting as well. Bowie wanted to see the king, and they wanted to see if Ayla was okay with it because she's queen. It's like her permission to give, whatever.
Of course.
Of course, she was, because she's like, "Yeah, Bowie, you can literally do whatever you want. This is
like, I'm indebted to you. I told you this already."
Yeah. And yeah, she loves Bowie. So that's like her main man, her little man, her surrogate son.
There you go.
More surrogate people in her life. When they're about to go in, Bryn reminds Ayla that Marcus isn't the same warmongering man who started, the war. He's old and frail, and he is still your father.
Damn, that's so much.
And he's like, "I'd like to punch him in the face, but like, he's your father."
And he's like dying.
Yeah. They went in, and Marcus was propped up on pillows. He looked sickly and weak, and he was like translucent. You could see through him, basically. Yeah. It was very hard for Ayla to process her emotions all in this moment because she was still. Imagine. Yeah, because she's still very frustrated and angry with him for starting the war, even if it may have been him on Grey Dream. You know, she's like, holy shit, you're my father, and that's confusing. And like, you're also dying. Should I be sad about that? I don't know.
Oh my gosh, so many emotions.
I know. She knew he was her father, but that thought just seemed so distant in her mind. But as she looked at him, revenge slowly seemed to seep from her mind.
Well, the thought is so distant because you had King Saban and you had Ewan and Namori. You don't need a fourth one.
Well, not according to her, Ewan and Namori.
You don't need a fourth one. Dude, she had
too
4
many
fathers.
dads.
She had 4.
Far too many fathers.
That's crazy.
Just kidding. It's not too many fathers. I'm just jealous.
You want more dads?
I want more dads. No, I like my dad. He had lost his wife.
Just the look that you gave. That's all.
I'm going to cut that. He had lost his wife and his child, and his children, gave away the only child that lived, adopted a son who was kidnapped, and then was poisoned by his illegitimate child who sucked, and now he's dying.
Oh my gosh.
So she's like thinking about this. She's like, damn, that sucks.
That's a lot.
Maybe I should feel bad for him. Bowie took a step forward, and the king called out his name, which is apparently not Bowie. It's Boniface.
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 Okay. I'm going to Google that because that's interesting.
Bowie went and climbed on the bed and sat with Marcus. Marcus was happy that Bowie had returned. He held his hand and asked about the marks on his face. Bowie told him he had gotten into a fight. And Marcus was like, well, how did it go? And he was like, it was close, but we won.
Oh.
Bowie and Bryn left the room so that Ayla could be alone with her father.
Okay.
She called out to him using the word father for the first time, testing it on her tongue. She asked him, what do I need to do? How can I be a good queen? That's a direct quote. She was desperate to understand what he did to inspire such loyalty and love from his people.
Okay, that's valid.
He told her, quote, you should do what I did not. Fight only when you must. Don't fight for glory, fight for peace. And perhaps also for love. And also don't ever sacrifice someone you love.
Is that what he said?
Yeah.
Love that.
I picture him being like, and also like, don't sacrifice like someone you love. That's like kind of
well. You won't
like,
enjoy it.
Hashtag regrets. Chapter 47. The next night they had a feast. Ayla met a bunch of important Niellan diplomats, but that she hadn't met before, by the way. But she was so busy greeting the people that she hadn't yet met, she barely spoke to Bryn.
Again.
Because she was just so busy.
Gosh.
They had all sat down for dinner, and Ayla was finally going to get a chance to strike up a conversation with the man she loves.
All right.
Right then, she was told by Felipe that she had more unexpected visitors.
Uh-oh.
It was her family from Hiver.
Oh my gosh, they didn't get slaughtered in the raid.
Thank God. Bryn had sent a messenger to them to tell them where they could find Ayla, and they came to see her.
Aww.
They were not surprised that Slate turned out to be Bryn at all. I think they kind of knew.
They're like, I recognize him.
Yeah.
Right away.
I kind of know who this prince is. Maybe, I don't know. Also, Amori did know what was in the box that he had given to Ayla because a woman had showed up a couple months after she left for the army in Dunwall during the war. So I'm assuming like she was probably 16, 17 when the box showed up.
Oh my
so
God.
I'm going to
Okay.
assume that Marcus wrote it right after, like right when the war started to happen. His health's deteriorating. He's getting fed Grey Dream. He's like, I'm not lucid. I got to get my shit together. I'm writing this letter. We got to find my daughter.
Gotta find her.
Right, exactly. He had opened it and resealed it, and he was apologetic for not giving the box to her sooner. He was like, I could have given it to you when you came back to visit after the war.
And I'm so sorry.
Didn't.
I'm so sorry. It's not bad.
But Ayla held no ill will. Amori tells her, quote, you're a good person, Ayla. It's the only thing that kept me from feeling like I failed you, seeing the woman you've become. Perhaps Niall should thank me for raising a worthy queen. Do you think they'd build me a statue in my honor?
He's comedic relief.
He's great.
Love it.
Ayla asked about the people who were passing through when she was a baby. Like, they weren't mercenaries, were there? Or they weren't, I don't know, whatever she called them.
Yeah.
And Amori tells her that they were passing through and had been attacked by mercenaries. So they weren't mercenaries, they had been attacked by mercenaries. And that Marcus had also sent Amori tells her that they were passing through and had been attacked by mercenaries that Marcus had sent to raid those lands. Marcus almost killed his own daughter without even knowing
Oh
it.
my gosh.
Yeah.
That's true.
They all were excited about the possibility of peace between Niall and Dunwyn. And Amor even said that specifically. He's like, you can do this, Ayla. You can create peace between Niall and Dunwyn. This is so good. That night, she thought about the possibility of peace. And when she couldn't sleep because all she could think about was Bryn and like him touching her body, she decided to go see him. She went to his room where Chase and a Niellan soldier were flirting. And guarding the door, of course. Ayla made fun of Chase, asking if he was behaving himself, and he asked if she was. And he as he winked at her and like inclined his head to Bryn's door.
Yeah.
That's
funny.
Yeah, and he's like, oh, she's like, oh, shut up, Chase. And he opened the door. I'm a queen. She went in and was expecting Bryn to be alone, but he was laying next to Bowie on the bed as Bowie was sleeping, and Bryn was looking through some papers, working 9 to 5. Bowie was still getting nightmares and slept better when Bryn was around. Bryn tells Ayla that he made Mason commander of his army and asks like what she's doing here. So just like a little rundown.
Okay.
By the way, I made Mason commander of my armies. What are you doing here?
Yeah, like I visited you, but like, what are you?
Yeah. Why are you in my room? I'm just like
okay,
trying to do my papers. And no, I'm joking. He was excited. She asked him in a roundabout way, like when he's going to leave.
Yeah. It's just like, how much time do we have together before you're gone?
Yeah. And he tells her in a couple weeks, but Bowie wants to be here until Marcus kicks it.
Jesus.
I don't know why I wrote
Bowie
it like
said that. That was quote.
That was a direct quote. I don't like Marcus very much. I can't even lie. I can't lie.
He's an interesting...
I need more from him if he's going to have a redemption arc in my eyes.
Yeah, he has an interesting character arc that I feel like we don't know everything still.
Yeah. Then she asked Bryn to walk with her, and he eagerly says yes.
Oh.
As they were walking, Ayla is like not good at expressing her feelings as per usual. So it's a bit awkward. She says she wants to figure out where they go from here as king and queen of their respective kingdoms, and them as Ayla and Bryn.
Yeah.
You know? And like apparently that's like not the right thing to say. He's like, oh. She's like, we're allies. And he says, oh, is that all?
Aw.
She admits that she's not good at talking about her feelings, and they laugh. And she said she'd still be fighting for him if she wasn't the queen of Niell. He tells her that he's going to miss her in Dunwyn. She grabs his hand, and a fire ignites inside her body. She expresses that his dad would be proud of him, but he still has doubts. But she told him to trust him.
Trust in yourself.
Wait, she tells us, but she was the one that told him to trust in himself. He's telling her that.
Yeah.
You know?
Okay.
She says again. So at the beginning of this... So she says, you came to Niell, and he tells her he missed her, and the reason he is here is because he couldn't leave things the way that they did with so much unsaid.
Yeah.
He grabs her face and tells her, quote, we both have duties holding us apart, but I don't want diplomacy to be all that's between us. I think about seeing you only when the friendship between our countries brings us together, and I can't breathe. You're the only person I've ever wanted to share everything with, the ugly, bitter, shameful parts of me, as well as all the good I've done and the good I'm going to do. I came to Niell because I refused to give up the fearless, unshakable, selfless, beautiful fighter I met in Anarchist Underground. I don't care how hard it is. I'm falling in love with you, Ayla Wrynn. And if you're falling for me too, then I don't want to know a future without you in it. Our kingdoms deserve to be happy, but so do we.
Yes.
Is that tearing? Oh,
that was so good. When he said the thought of us only seeing each other like because of our whatever, like diplomatically, I can't breathe. I got chills across my whole body.
I can't breathe. It makes me like, oh.
Full body chills.
He asks what she wants from him. He'll give it to her. He'll give her anything that she wants. And she says, I want to honor my blood. There's a quote. I want to honor my blood. I want to do all I can on the throne to achieve lasting peace for Niell. But I don't want to leave Dunwyn behind. My friends, my family. I don't want to let them go. I don't want to let you go. I thought fighting was the only thing that could make me feel alive. But it's this. It's thinking about everything I can build as the Queen of Niell and everything you and I can achieve together. It's the endless possibility that bring me to life. Bryn, I want us both to hold the heart of the one kingdom. I want to rebuild the castle at Hiver and for it to belong to both Dunwin and Niel. I want it to stand as a reminder that we've been one nation before. Maybe we will be again.
Yes.
They would both hold Hiver together again.
Yes.
And that's their plan.
I love
That's
that
it.
so much. I want to read about it.
I know. Okay, epilogue. 6 months later. They're walking around Hiver. Bowie is counting the bricks in the castle walls. Bowie has a tutor named Alexander, who was also Bryn's tutor at one point.
Right.
This is kind of like a rundown.
Yeah.
They have been working on renovating Hiver Castle, and although it's beautiful and has a ton of potential, it's going to take years for them to fully renovate. In the meantime, they will spend summers in Ater and winters in Dunwald, because Dunwald's inherently more warm, I'm assuming.
Makes sense.
And Ater is inherently more cold. That's my assumption.
Or like one's just seasonal.
Right, and one
It's
is like summer all year round.
Michigan and Florida.
Right. You know what I mean. Bowie is unfortunately still having nightmares. Splinter got the mass of land that he runs in Dunwin's southeast side or whatever. Which it was like, we'll have to figure that out, but like later.
That one line was like, oh my God, she just left room for a
There's
sequel.
potential.
She just left room. Yeah.
100%. Well, even just uniting the two kingdoms, they're gonna come across
conflict.
there's going to be pushback. So I would love to see
Me
like how
too.
that comes to fruition. If they have a child, what Bowie is going to be in that? Is that I'm assuming that's going to be their like somewhat adopted son.
Right.
But if they have a child together, who say they have a son, who will take the throne? Like how will that happen?
Well, if it's the one kingdom, then they're ruling.
Take the throne of the one kingdom.
Yeah.
Who will have the one throne of the one kingdom? Will they rule together? Like how will that work? That's an interesting thought that I'm having.
They'll rule together.
Will it end up being like a Lion King situation where one of them gets the throne and the other one turns evil and tries to take him down? That could be interesting.
Here we go. We're giving you a lot of ideas.
There's
Nicole.
a lot of ideas. I'm swimming with them right now.
You are.
Okay, so they look at the dais where they will be. Okay, they look at the dais where there will be 2 thrones for Ayla and one for Bryn to sit on, united as one.
Yes.
After 200 years of being a split kingdom.
Yes.
Split kingdoms. Ayla was exhilarated by the adventure that they were about to embark on.
Oh, I didn't even notice.
They're about to embark on. It felt like falling through the sky. That's a direct quote.
That was the last line, wasn't it? Oh, I wish the epilogue had been 6 years in the future, but it does leave good room for a sequel.
It leaves so much room, and I like really want to see it. Like I'm desperate.
See the castle
There's
completed.
so much that could happen.
Yes.
Like there's going to be pushback from Niel and Dunwin.
Splinter is just ruling
is a
his own
person that's there.
faction.
Still.
Like what is that? Yeah.
Alvin's people could rise up against against Ayla.
I don't know what their plan would be, but okay.
I'd love to see. I mean, if Marcus had one bastard, he probably had more. So there could be more people that
It's just turning into Game of Thrones right now.
seriously, like there's so
could.
much, you know.
I love it. I want more.
I know, I do too. I think this would be so good as a series.
It would be, yeah. I feel like that book could have been split up even. But it was good. Okay, let's get into it. Quote of the week.
Okay, this one is from King Marcus. Quote, "You should do what I did not. Fight only when you must. Don't fight for glory. Fight for peace. And perhaps also for love. Don't ever sacrifice someone you love."
I love that he like had a list in his mind all these years.
He's like, I know my daughter's going to ask.
Yeah.
How to be a
Like,
good
what am I going to
queen.
say?
What am I going to say?
And then he went down the list.
Oh, I definitely should stop fighting as much. That's for sure.
Mine was, let me in. It won't make you weak. You could never be weak.
Oh, I love
Bryn
that.
to Ayla. And I do also love how she realized that she doesn't need to fight anymore. And that like, if
fighting
she got
doesn't
that
bring
feeling
her.
elsewhere. I love that. Who would you be?
Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. I don't even know.
Who would you be?
I would be Mason. Did I say that last time?
I don't remember.
I think I did.
Oh, you love Mason.
It's not even that I love Mason. I just know that whatever's happening to Mason would probably happen to me.
I picked,
More than likely.
I picked Thomas's mom. Because I don't know why.
Some random lady in Hiver that also came to visit Ayla.
She made it. She was saved by Ayla with the.
Oh my God! Do you know what? I almost forgot this. Where is the boy?
Oh yeah.
Oh my God! From the first
part one,
who called Ayla like a half-blood bitch. And like,
wow,
like called Bryn a scum, done weigh in and was like, enemy in the square. Like, I need to know where that kid is.
Is that when they were at Arax's camp?
No, they were in the castle
Hiver.
of Ater.
Okay, it was when they got into the fighting pits.
Right before. That's how they got caught to go into the fighting pit.
Right,
so he was scrubbing the floor in the Ater castle.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
So he's got to be somewhere around there. I wonder if he ever sees Ayla, if he like avoids her, if he quit. I need to know if he quit.
Work in the villages or
if he
something.
got fired.
Yeah. He just hides his head every time she comes by.
Oh my God. I bet he's not even in the castle anymore. I literally bet he got fired.
Well, if you write a second book, we gotta round out his character.
15-year-old who literally just looked her dead in the face and called her like a half-blood bitch.
And now she's his queen.
And now that was, half-blood bitch. Not really, because I'm actually the queen of Niellans.
That's so crazy.
That's crazy. Sorry, continue.
Who would you want to be?
Oh my God. Ayla. Minus the broken arm.
Oh, I forgot about that. I put Ayla too, and then in parentheses I said sex.
Sex.
Bryn.
Sex and love.
Bowie.
And like
all of it.
I don't know if I could be queen, but like ideally in my perfect world, I know.
Yeah,
I'd figure it out.
You would figure it out because you'd have Bowie, who is very strategic.
And Bryn, who's also very strategic. I'm sure they talk strategy all the time.
Of course, all three of them. They're such a good trio. Who's your favorite character in the whole book?
Oh my God, are you joking? Could it be anyone else?
But Bowie.
It's
Bowie.
That kid his story makes me sob.
I know. I'm getting tearing up right now. He made the book. He was wonderful and amazing, and I love him.
The pressure, everything that was on a 9-year-old's shoulder and the way he held it so elegantly, and honestly,
oh my gosh, the patience that he had to have had,
and still like when he came to Ater with Bryn, he still had like a sunny disposition. I mean, but at night he's having nightmares and going through like the worst PTSD as a 9-year-old, like stuff that he'll probably struggle with for the rest of his life. And it doesn't even just come down to killing.
It's all
Alvine. It's the torture for over 4 years.
I mean, being like the decoy prince and being a target.
And knowing that at any moment for your potential future queen that you would have to sacrifice your life I can't.
It's so good though. And it worked out for Bowie.
I know.
He's getting tutored now. Who's your least favorite character?
Alvine.
Okay.
I think Alvine, because I don't really understand her villain origin. Like she really is just like bad to the bone from the very beginning.
Yeah.
Like she didn't have anything that turned her. Like all of this was her idea. Maybe it was like the fact that she was a bastard. I don't really know.
I don't know.
Obviously, it was partly Huntley's teaching.
Maybe because she was the bastard, and but she thought. Did she think she was the rightful heir, or she knew that Ayla was out there somewhere?
She knew it.
So maybe
she
Ayla
just
like,
was out there.
I want to be queen. How do I make this happen?
They thought Bowie was at
streamline
first, but then they got it out of him when they got it out of Marcus when they gave him a bunch of Grey Dream. They like got it out of him that Bowie was not the rightful heir, that he was a decoy. So, but all of this was Alvine's idea. They even said that. Like it wasn't even Huntley's, it was Alvine. So Alvine did this for her daughter, for the love of her daughter.
And so Alvine is just selfish.
I assumed that Huntley had Alvine as a way to eventually have her daughter take over eventually.
Yeah, that would have been a good plan. That would have been a crazy plan.
And maybe that was part of it.
Maybe, yeah.
Like, I don't really know, but Alvine just doesn't make a ton of sense. I just don't get her motives. I just would have liked to know a little bit more about her
motives.
motives.
The throne.
And some people are just evil. Like, some people are just not good people. King of Hybern, good example. We never know his motives, but he's just a piece of shit. And maybe Alvine is just born a piece of shit.
Maybe.
That's fine, but she also sucks.
I picked Splinter for my least favorite character because I don't know. He was just like, everything I do is business, and I don't know. He's just so wishy-washy. You can write his character any direction that you want it to.
Yeah, I think we did talk about this last time. Like, he just needs to stand on business. Like, if he's gonna be a bad guy, be a bad guy. Like, don't act like you're like a morally gray guy that does things just because he has to, because that's the way of the world. That's not you. You're choosing to do these things. You do it on purpose. You have a purpose with it. You're growing your business. You have your own land. Like, you've gained things.
That's crazy.
Like, let's be so upfront about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I just didn't. I don't know. I don't know why I didn't like him.
No, I agree, actually,
because he hurt Bowie so much in the beginning.
I agree.
Okay, what do you rate it? 1 to 5.
I'm gonna say, I think a 4.2.
Oh, that's good. I picked 4.
Yeah.
So that's a really good rating.
Yeah. I'm gonna say, yeah, I liked it a lot.
I
just
too.
really would like more from it. Like more
like
books.
A sequel. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or like maybe some deleted scenes.
Deleted scenes would be so good.
Yeah, that would be really good.
Even a prequel would be good. A prequel would be so fun of like how we got here.
Yeah.
Alvine, Huntley, and King Sabin.
I honestly do want more of Alvine. I think she's interesting.
Yeah, I agree. I really agree. Even maybe Splinters, like whole start a business, because they kind of made a point to say that he was a borderlander and like all these sort of things, and like I'd like to know more about maybe his upbringing and how he became the
leader of the underground or whatever.
How Anarchist Underground even started, like, because we get like the outline of it, like we understand what, but like what were the leading events that happened to like to make it
peace between Underground and Donwyn.
Maybe was Splinter there during that time? Did he seize opportunity during the war? Like, when did his power come in?
Yeah.
Bowie's time with Araxa.
Right. All of Bowie. I want his whole 9 years.
I agree. Bowie's time with King Marcus.
Yeah. His story is so interesting.
There's a lot of possibility. There's so much possibility in this.
Yeah, it was really good. We liked it.
I did too. Yeah, a lot.
Thanks for reaching out, Nicole. It was a really fun read.
It was.
And it was very emotional at times. I just didn't expect it. And I was like, oh my gosh, I love this.
I know. Ugh, Bowie. Like Bryn and Ayla's relationship. And what did we say last time? Hail King and Queen of the One Kingdom. Hail Queen Ayla of Niel and King Bryn of Dunwyn.
Yeah.
Yeah. I keep wanting to say Dunwald. Of Dunwyn.
Dunwyn. And then hail the One Kingdom.
One Kingdom.
That'll be, that's so cool. I love it.
I do too.
I want to see Hiver rebuilt. That's all I want.
Ooh, that'd be cool too if we got pre like One Kingdom and then how it split.
Ooh, yeah, that story. Ooh, there's a ton of possibilities.
Oh my God. Nicole, I need another book.
This is our official request. All right. Any last thoughts on Anarchist Underground?
I think it's good. I think it's wrapped.
The physical copy comes out November 25th. So if you guys want that, pre-order it now. And I think that you get signed copies if you pre-order it right now.
Ooh,
so
that'd be exciting.
Cool.
Yeah.
Next week, we are starting an adventure. We are doing Crescent City Book 1, which is called House of Earth and Blood by Sarah J. Maas. Of course, everybody knows. Through chapter 48, we're reading. And then we will be doing all 3 books, followed by The Last Letter, Variation, Fourth Wing, Iron Flame, and Onyx Storm by Rebecca Yarros. And then the Hunger Games trilogy, A Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, and Sunrise on the Reaping by Suzanne Collins after that. So that'll take us out through May.
Yeah, I'm super excited. So lots of series. I hope you enjoy the ride. These are all very popular books, all very well known, talked about books. So I hope that everyone either has read and will join along or will read them, because let's be honest, a lot of these books are probably on your like
TBR, whatever,
yeah,
or your favorite list.
Yeah.
I've been meaning to read Crescent City for years.
So ever since I've been wanting to read this.
Yeah.
And you're like, should we do Crescent City? We need a trilogy. Should we do?
It's time. It's time. So
amazing. All right, y'all. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please email us at litlibationspodcast@gmail.com.
Yeah, and we'll see you guys next week for House of Earth and Blood Part 1.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.